Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 6th week of Blue Otter Emerald Season 13. Our penultimate stream of the regular season will feature Conduit Sun versus Monkey's Paw in a must-win match for the Monkeys if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. We've got some otters here to talk about it. My name is Crewman44, and of course, we will be starting out, as always, with my co-host, the splendid Mr. Storm. Storm, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic today. Thank you for asking, crewman. It's a lovely day here in beautiful British Columbia, and I and crewman am joined by two guests this evening. With us today, we have Nahor and Lucy. Why don't you start us off, Nahor? Can you introduce yourself, what division you're in, what role, and what team you're on?
So I am Nahor. I play for Monkey's Paw, and I believe we are in Demacia.
You sure are.
And Lucy, how about yourself?
Hello, I am the ADC for AK Hearts in the Freljord region.
Perfect. And tonight, I think we are going to be starting off with actually going over the Freljord division because we have skipped over them the past couple of weeks, so we've been running out of time. So we figured we would start there to give them a chance.
Before we get into that, Storm, we do have
Oh,
one more guest here that does need to be introduced.
perfect. Welcome, Spuds. Nice to see you again. Can you just introduce yourself quickly with what team you play on, role, and what division you're in?
Hi, I'm Frozen Spuds. I play support for Mint Gaming Crashouts.
And you guys are in Demacia as well, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
No, we are Demacia.
Oh, I love it. The spice already coming out. But yes, as you were saying, Storm, into Freljord first tonight because, as you said, the past couple of weeks, we have been struggling to get through everything, and having Freljord at the end of the queue has been a little bit unfair to them. So that's where we're going to start today, just to make sure that we can get in some discussions about all those Freljordian fights that are happening. I was going to go with squads, but you know me, I'm a sucker for alliteration. But here we go. So our first matchup in the Freljord this week going to be Bloom Wisteria up against Definitely Not Huracan. So all of us predicting Bloom for this one. Storm, I think, not really too much to say about this matchup, probably, right?
Yeah, I feel like this one's a fairly kind of close series, top of the table playing at bottom of the table. Does anyone have any hot takes or anything on this series, or do you think we can just kind of go to the next one?
It
Nahor?
should be a stomp.
Yeah.
Spuds, you have anything to add?
Nope. I think Bloom's good and Huracan's bad.
Fair enough, sufficiently put. All right. With that, I think we can move on to the AK Hearts versus Golden Geese. I see Spuds, the perennial believer in Golden Geese gang. What's changed?
Wow.
What do you got this week? Why are they going
Honk,
to rise up
honk.
and fly?
I always think the Golden Geese are going to win. They cannot prove me wrong 6 times in a row.
In the words of well-known analyst Ox, they are due, right? They're due for a win any week now.
Exactly.
Okay. Lucy, you have anything you want to add to this, or do you just think it's an
Well,
easy AK Hearts?
I mean, it's an easy stomp. That's all I'm saying. I'm baffled that you chose Golden Goose with me on here. But I respect it, honestly. I respect it. They're due, but I'm sorry, not this week.
Let me check really quickly, see what their last opponent is going to be for week 7. Let me pull that up. Lucy, obviously on the side of the AK Hearts there, right? As you mentioned earlier.
Of
Do you have
course.
any more detailed thoughts about this matchup or any thoughts about like their bot laners specifically? Anything you did to prepare this week?
Uh, I'll be completely honest. I've prepared less than the previous 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks we've had crazy opponents, and week not as crazy as an opponent, respectfully. And so I think we're well prepared. I think we're good to go, and it should be a nice 2-0, which we really need it in our group right now.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It looks like the week 7 opponent for the Golden Geese is going to be the Huracan. So that is going to be, ironically, a very, very exciting matchup, probably, to see
A
which one of
banger.
those teams. It's kind of a toilet bowl situation, right? That'll be really fun to see who can avoid last place. That'll be exciting. But I think we could probably go ahead and move on to our next matchup for this week, which is, of course, going to be the Conduit Gremlins up against Glacial Spectre. We had Glacial Spectre on the stream last week, Storm. We were just reminiscing a little bit before going live tonight. Glacial Spectre, they were able to take the first game, but then they kind of gradually disintegrated over the course of the series, it kind of felt like.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see that there was some definite flaws that I feel like teams could exploit. Queen Styx decided very early into games 2 and 3 that their job was no longer to farm, but it was to gank nonstop. So I'm hoping maybe that doesn't happen as much for them, and that they're able to balance themselves out. But what about you, Nahor? I see you also have Conduit winning. Is it just a series of top team playing a bottom team, or do you think there's something else about this series?
Yeah, pretty much. They also have good players, so I trust that they can pull it out. Conduit usually has pretty good teams.
Okay. What about you, Lucy? As somebody who's actually in this division and has played, I believe, these teams, do you have anything special you want to add to this?
We have not played against the Conduit Gremlins, but I will
Okay.
say it is definitely something to pay attention to. I do think, however, Conduit, even though we haven't played against them, they like he said, they're a very solid team. They look really good, and we're playing them next week.
It's going to be a tough match for your last opponent of the round robin. I'm guessing a lot of
It's
preparation
gonna
is
be
going to go into that one.
cinema. Absolutely, we're already preparing.
Oh, nice, excellent. Who do we still have to hear from? Spuds, I think we still have to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think Glacial has kind of petered out as the split has gone on. 2 of their 3 wins have come to Golden Geese and Huracan, so I think Glacial Spectre's stocks are pretty low. And I actually thought coming into the split that Conduit was probably going to be the best team in Freljord, so I think it's just a no-brainer here.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, the Glacial Spectre definitely did start out pretty hot, but like you said, they have started to struggle a bit more as the season has gone on. Conduit Gremlins, they are currently exactly tied with No Quarter Gaming for that first place spot in Freljord. So they're there. They're tied, but they're there. Oh, they're actually tied with Blue
Three-way
Mysteria, it
tie.
looks like, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, same match record and same number of points. Although Bloom actually have managed to pick up one additional game win, interestingly.
Okay. Why don't we keep hearing from you, Spuds? We're going over to this next matchup. We have No Quarter Gaming taking on the Chosen Inters. Chosen Inters did take a win up last week on stream, and you have them winning this evening. Any particular reason why?
Nope.
Okay, fair.
Fair enough.
Lucy, do you want to chime in?
I mean, I like those guys a lot. I love playing versus them. They were very, very fun to play. They pulled out champions we never expected. Drafting versus them was a nightmare. But so anything can happen, honestly. But my prediction's there.
Yeah, fair enough. Nahor, do you have any insights into this matchup, or just do you think it's a pretty easy win for No Quarter?
I don't really know these teams, so I can't really speak on them, to be honest. I just went off of standing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just quick aside, it is pretty cool to see No Quarter Gaming doing so well this season. I feel like normally, this is something that we talked about earlier on in the season as well, right, Storm? Normally, this is a squad, is an organization that tends to struggle a little bit, but to see them on top of the standings with only a couple weeks left to play is pretty cool.
Yeah, be interesting to see when playoffs roll around, if that's just they're in the group of life, so to speak, or if they have figured it out as a team and have. Because I think a bunch of these players are returning to this roster, I believe. So
I believe you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably going to do it for our Freljord discussion. Anything that we missed, Lucy, about any of these teams that you feel like we need to mention before we move on?
I think our region is very underestimated. We've got called the group of life immediately, and a lot of these teams are a lot better than people think. Maybe I'm coping, but it is what it is.
You're
They're
definitely
really
coping.
good.
You are pooping.
Listen, man. listen. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. What I saw, like last season, we got versus No Quarter as well in the same group, and I'm genuinely impressed with how they've improved and the other
Yeah.
teams in here.
Totally. Yeah, it does seem like maybe the teams at the bottom of Freljord are obviously struggling a lot, but there is a lot of competition towards the top half as well. So yeah, we'll have to see. As we're going to discuss, of course, the other divisions in just a moment, and then we'll potentially, if we have time at the end of the episode, we can revisit that group of life discussion. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the Ionia division. Mr. Producer, if you could bring us into there. All right. So our first matchup for Ionia this week are going to be a JR Flying Dutchman. Still looking for their first win. They're going to be up against Team Solo Invade. Probably going to be a pretty tough opponent. And as we can see, we are all predicting TSI to take the win in this one. And this is probably another one of those matchups where there's really not too much to say. Spuds, anything? Do you think the Dutchmen have any kind of chance here at all?
Nope.
Yeah, fair enough. Nahor, what are your thoughts? Any chance at all?
No chance really.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
the
kinda how,
Dutchmen got their first game win like a week or two ago.
Uh-huh.
So this is another squad that's struggling.
Definitely. Yeah, they have not really been able to put everything together. Lucy, anything else that you wanted to say about this?
They're cooked.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Storm, you want to bring us into that next matchup?
Yeah, for sure. Our next matchup here, we have XSV Greed. I believe are currently in third place in this division, and they are taking on Dorado Gaming Mu, who is in seventh and are in Fantasyland, as I was calling it. That they are in, must win every game mode to make it into playoffs. Technically, still alive. Looks like we all have XSV Greed. No one believing in the Cinderella story. Think it's just top of the table, smashes down Nahor.
Yeah, I mean, just looking, I don't really know these teams too well, but just looking at their solo queue ranks, looks like they have one guy that's a master's rank. So, I mean,
Wow.
I think that alone will win.
TSI does?
XSV.
Yeah, for Greed.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's legal, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
They're
not really
good,
sure. How
honest climber, just like Spuds here.
He's at a crazy climb. Kaz is insane. I know.
63% win rate, like
All
lol.
right. Wow, he's popping off. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go. That's my take.
Yeah, good take. Who do we need to hear from next? Spuds, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Greed is just a much better team. I don't think this one's going to be close at all.
Yeah. So do you think it's going to be more or less one-sided than the last matchup we just were touching on with TSI versus the Dutchman?
I say it's probably better. I think both teams are relatively better than their counterpart from the game above this.
Okay, so you actually do expect this match to be closer than the other one, despite the fact that you were just saying it's going to be pretty one-sided.
I guess so, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Lucy, same question to you. Which between this match and the match just above it there, TSI versus the Dutchman, which do you think is going to be more one-sided?
The series before this, the TSI should be very one-sided, but both of them are still one-sided. So if they're both
For sure.
2-0s, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little bit of a chance for Fantasyland, as Storm was saying, to be visited by Dorado. I do want to give a quick shout out to Walk Warlock. I've followed him for a while. But we probably just move on now to our next matchup. TTM Aegeon versus XSV Gluttony. And this is a really exciting one. TTM Aegeon are currently sitting with a big old goose egg in the loss column. They are 5-0 right now, heading into week 6. Gluttony have only lost one match, and I believe, Storm, you remember when Gluttony picked up their one loss?
It was a surprising one, I think. Didn't they lose to Monkey's Goons or something like that?
Here,
Or did they beat Greed?
Well, according to the website, then Gluttony lost to Flying Dutchman, but that is incorrect, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
TSI beat Gluttony 2-1.
Ah, there it is. There it
Yeah.
is. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is going to be, and then let me check as well really quickly what TTM's last opponent is going to
They
be.
play Greed. They have yet to play
Indeed.
either XSV team.
All right. And then for XSV Gluttony, their Week 7 opponent is going to be the Monkeys Goons. So
Yeah.
a couple of relatively difficult opponents for TTM here at the end of the round robin. I guess maybe an interesting way to frame this discussion would be maybe even taking that next week matchup into account a little bit as well. And see if we can, if anybody is going to predict that TTM actually finish the round robin undefeated or not. Personally, I think they can do it. You know, I am predicting them to win tonight versus Gluttony, and I do feel like a Gluttony is probably the stronger between those two XSV teams. But Spuds, what are your thoughts?
I think they lose this weekend next week.
Oh, you think they lose to both XSV teams? Did you want to
I do.
elaborate at all on that?
I think this is a top-heavy group. To TTM's credit, they did beat TSI, so they have that going for them. But I think both of the XSV teams are probably the best two teams in the group, and I think TTM has kind of skirted by so far, and their toughest opponents are concentrated here at the end.
What is it about the XSV teams that you think puts them that step above, that makes them the best?
So the XSV Gluttony team is 4/5 of the roster that just won AEL Emerald. So I know that they've had some roster issues this split due to conflicts. I don't know if that impacted their loss to TSI or not, but I think XSV is probably the best team in the group. And then I'm familiar with the players on Greed, and I just have a lot more faith in Spoobert, Julian, and Kaz than any of the roster for TTM.
Gotcha. So then, to your knowledge, Spuds, those internal conflicts for Gluttony have been resolved at this point?
Yeah. I think it was
Okay,
just
great.
like some scheduling conflicts.
Gotcha.
I know at least one of those weeks, Gluttony had to play with like half of their team out because they were playing in AEL finals.
I actually think
Or
I do
semis or
kind of
something like that.
remember something about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, Nahor, looks like you're also predicting XSV Gluttony here. Are your thoughts similarly aligned to Spuds? Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, pretty similar. I see some familiar names. I know some of them are pretty good players. And looking at the other team, I don't know any of them. And to go against these type of players, I don't know if they'll hold up.
All right. Well, Lucy, you're also predicting TTM. What are your thoughts about what these other guests have had to say, and then why are you having the TTM prediction there?
Well, obviously there's personal bias, not just for me, but for them too. They know XSV better. I know TTM better. I know just about every player on TTM. I've either played versus them or I just have said hi. I just know them. XXV Greed, I recognize one player by name, but I've never played against him, never seen him perform. And then Gluttony, completely don't know anybody. So a little bit of personal bias for TTM. And also just, I know the players are solid. And they have the 5-0. Gluttony doesn't. And that's all.
Yeah, totally. It's been a great season so far for TTM, but like our other guests were saying, possibly their toughest opponents in the group they have saved for last. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can get the 7-0, if they can make that happen. I think it's probably safe to say that this is the most exciting and probably the closest matchup that we have this week in Ionia. Everybody agree with that?
I would actually disagree. I think it's Tilt versus Monkey Goons. Those
Well, what
teams,
an amazing segue, Storm.
Yeah. So I'm just going to bring it up because I was writing the article and I thought that, this would be a really heavily tilt favored matchup until I started looking at the stats. And then I realized that these teams are tied in pretty much every stat possible. They have like 0.1 difference in KDAs. They're killing the same amount of dragons, grubs, everything like that. It's crazy how evenly matched these teams are. And I actually, on my own predictions, have the Goons winning this one. I think some of the star players on the side of Tilt haven't been up to it, and this team crashes out like the Mint Crash Out name. Like and their losses are abysmal. So I have Monkeys Goons taking it tonight. I'm curious why everyone else has Tilt over them. If we want to start with you, Spuds, do you want to tell me why you have Tilt taking this?
Yeah, I think they should be a better roster. They have had some issues translating that into wins. I don't disagree with that. But I do think that Tilt World Enders is the better team. But to that note, I think this match is probably going to be a fiesta. I do have it Tilt favor, but I think it's probably a 3-game fiesta of a match.
Okay. What about you, Lucy? Do you have this one going to 3? Is it a 2-0? What's your thoughts on this matchup?
This one, out of all of the matchups on all the series this week, I would say I have the least knowledge about. So this one was kind of just intuition. One of the only series that I don't really have a solid answer as to why I chose one over the other. Just kind of a intuition call, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Nahor?
I think it'll be a 2-0 for
Oh,
Tilt.
really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just think monkey teams in general have been struggling. So I have faith for the other teams.
So maybe even a read into some chaos in the organization, perhaps,
That you are a part of?
really affect the team.
That I'm a part of. Yes.
Spicy.
Okay.
Well, Tilt are coming off a 0-2 loss they took to XSV Gluttony last week, whereas the Monkeys Goons did pick up their 2-1 win over Jolly Rogers. So perhaps that will come into play. Personally, I do still have faith in Tilt, as long as they don't pick Jace.
I think that stat. I think the stat you just said tells you everything you need to know. Goons gave Jolly Rogers their only game win of the split.
Oh, that is true. That is very true. Well, anybody wanted to respond to that? Storm, as the Goon predictor, what's your response?
I was about to say, my thing is the Goons have a new top laner who actually looks pretty decent, and he and Weatherneck are going to bash their skulls into each other for probably close to an hour and a half tonight, and I'm excited to see who comes out on top of that.
Absolutely. That's a new top laner for coming in this week. This is going to be his first week.
No, Fembop has 2 weeks on them, and he's 4-1.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be fun to track.
Yeah.
That top lane battle in particular. We'll have to check in on how that went later on. But I think we probably move on now. We don't have an Ionian representative amongst our guests, do we? Yeah, it was Freljord and Double Demacia. Right. Okay. So let's move on to Noxus. And let's see. Our first Noxus matchup, we're going to be taking a look at Team Mid Only versus the Winions. So again, probably a pretty one-sided one. We are all Winions predictors, I see. I assume you are as well, Storm?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think this one's close.
Yeah. Does anybody think this one is close?
No.
Nope. Now,
I don't
nobody
think
thinks
any
it's
of these are
close.
close.
Great. Let's look at our next matchup, Storm.
Agreed.
Yeah, so heading into our next one, we have Original Sin. Sorry, just let me scroll to find who
It's going to be
they're-
Original Sin versus formerly Maelstrom, who are now Mespa, I think. Is that the new name? Something like that?
Yeah, they have some new name or something because they totally revamped their roster. That new Mespa team is 1-1, but I still think Original Sin look like the favorites heading into this. They've not done well against the top teams, but they've 2-0'd every single one of the teams below them. So don't see why that'll change.
Yeah, I mean, really unfortunate for Maelstrom. Obviously we don't really know the details about how all that went down, but joining a league halfway through the regular season with a winless record is pretty tragic. But yeah, I mean, Storm was just saying they have picked up a little bit more success, at least, than the former Maelstrom roster did. But Spuds, do you think this one is going to be close at all? Do you think it's similar to before, my line of questioning? Do you think this is going to be more or less close than the matchup above it, which is the Winions versus Mid Only?
I think the disparity is smaller, but it's still pretty big.
Okay. Nahor, same question to you.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be very close at all.
You think it's going to be closer than the Winions versus TMO, though? Or do you think this is actually going to be the bigger stomp for Original Sin?
This is probably a bigger stomp.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so Lucy, that makes you the tiebreaker.
I say the Winions have the bigger stomp.
Okay.
All right, and then next matchup we have the Shattered Spire taking on Goon Squad. In my mind, I think this is probably the biggest stomp of the night. Does anyone disagree with me on that? Nahor, do you think it's a bigger stomp than the two above this, or which?
Nah, this one's worse.
Yeah.
Even worse. It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Spuds, you agree? You think this one's the biggest stomp, or you think the Winions are that much better?
I think Winions are still the bigger stomp.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Lucy? Do you think what's your thoughts on this one? Do you think it's just a complete stomp? How big of a stomp do you think it'll be?
I mean, stomp, but to compare stomps is kind of futile. It's
Okay.
still a it's still gonna end. It's hard to compare like which one's gonna be harder than the other. It just depends on who brings their game, who doesn't. I think it's arguably as close as Winions. Maybe it's a bigger stomp.
Let's put it this way: if Winions get 5 big booms, I think TSS gets like 3.
yeah, let's go with that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the Goons, another one of these teams that just has not really found any success at all. They're also winless so far in the round robin. But I do feel like Shattered Spire, they have off days sometimes. Sometimes they just, maybe they don't have good practice one week or whatever. And I feel like sometimes they just show up or they just like don't show up rather against opponents that they should normally be able to beat. So definitely expecting them to win tonight, but you never know. You never know. Goons also hoping to avoid that winless round robin. Our last matchup for Noxus going to be the Syndicate Soot Sprites up against Monkey's Manor. Nahor, this Monkey's org struggling, like you said. You think they have any chance against the Sprites?
No, and I mean it's just a mixture of this roster struggling and just going against the best team in that division. So
Yeah. Are we all in agreement that the Syndicate Soot Sprites are the #1 team in Noxus? Just a quick aside.
No.
I will agree. Ooh.
I actually think that it's either Being Chillers or Suit Sprites. I know Suit Sprites won when they played head to head, but I think that's a series that changes like day to day. I think
Sure.
those two teams are pretty much equal. And it just depends on who shows up on game day.
I'm kind of in agreement, but I would almost give the edge to the Winston's Winions. I think that team is really, really good. I also think the Soot Sprites are really, really good. They're probably like easily both a top 4 team, and I'm expecting to see them go really far.
Just to clarify, Storm, you mean top 4 team in the entire league, right?
Yes, top 4 team in the entire league.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think both are really strong teams, like you guys are saying. So that'll be really exciting to see where they do end up. Right now in the standings, obviously, as also previously mentioned, the Soot Sprites did win the match between the two. That was, I think, like week 2 or something. It was a while ago now. Yeah. Currently, the Soot Sprites 5-0 are sitting at 29 points, and the Winions are 2 points behind them at 27. So there's even a possibility, that the Winions could still pass the Sprites potentially, even if both teams win both of their remaining matches. If like the Soot Sprites win 2-1, whereas the Winions win 2-0, there could be something there. They're week 7 opponents. Oh, go ahead, Storm.
I would just say series score is the first thing before points. So even if they pass them in points, it doesn't matter.
Good correction there. Yeah. But still, the last matchup for the Soot Sprites is going to be the Shattered Spire. So there could be a bit of an upset brewing there potentially. And for the Winions, it's going to be up against Original Sin. So those are actually a couple of pretty interesting matchups for next week. I guess we'll get back to that next week. For now, I think probably time to move on to Demacia. And Stormman here. Stormman, are we predicting? We're both predicting. Oh no, I actually saw you are not predicting Conduit, son. You're
I am
actually
not.
expecting this one to go the other way.
Yep. I am a certified Conduit Sun hater. They are my new hater team. I have won every single split. I think that team played some teams that weren't very good at the beginning of the split to pick up 2 of their wins, and I like some of the names. I recognize them, like Nahor from Monkey's Paw. I think they have a shot at winning this, and I'm just a hater, so I got Paw winning. Nahor, why do you have yourselves winning this one?
I think there's like zero pressure on us now, and we ended up switching junglers to a jungler I think that can have more of a voice. I think in our previous iteration of the team, people had different ideas on what they wanted to do, and a lot of our games look extremely sloppy because one person saying one thing, other one saying the other. So I think this time around we should and hopefully have a little more organization throughout our games.
All right, and I am just going to add, you guys are in Fantasyland territory. You can make the playoffs. You just need to win every game and have certain teams lose. Does that make you feel any better?
No, I mean, I think just looking at the remaining rosters, I think we could beat them. Like I said, it's mostly on us. I think we have the capability of doing so, but it's more of playing to our strengths rather than just playing it like a solo queue game.
You shouldn't have told him that, Storm. Now there's pressure again. He was just saying there was no pressure, and now you just went and gave him all the pressure back.
Spuds, I'm sure you have comments. Why do you have Conduit taken this?
No offense to Nahor. I actually think Nahor's kind of jailed on this team. I won't ask him to comment on that on stream. But I think Paw's a pretty bad team. Is this your first time playing with the new jungler, Nahor?
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how that goes. See if that does change it, like he said. I just don't think the Paw's a great team. But to that credit, I also don't think Conduit is anywhere near as good as they think they are. I could easily see Conduit losing tonight and next week, and somehow fumbling their playoffs after a 3-0 start. But I do give the edge to Conduit right now.
Lucy, you want to chime in here? Do you have any thoughts on this? Anything that we haven't brought up?
Nothing special. I just think I do agree Conduit are probably not as good as they think they are, as stated, but I do think this week.
Well, since this is our streamed matchup tonight, I'm going to ask all of you guys to go ahead and tack a score onto your prediction. For myself, I am still sticking with Conduit. I'm going to give it 3 games, though. I'm going to go with the 2-1, although with Nahor sharing that they do have a new jungler, that does tempt me to switch up my prediction. But I'll stick to my guns for now. Storm, what was your score that you had?
I have this going to 3 as well. I have a 2-1 for Monkey's Paw to win.
Okay, interesting. Spuds, give a score for us.
Nahor, who's playing jungle tonight?
Metal.
Yeah, I think it's 2-1 Conduit.
All right, Nahor, obviously predicting yourself. Do you expect Conduit to get a game off you, or are you bouncing back with a vengeance tonight?
I think we'll win 2-1. We'll probably win the first game, be all hyped up, lose second game, and then the third game will probably be a banger.
Ooh, even some additional context alongside the prediction. Love it. All right. Well, Lucy, we do need a score from you as well, please.
Just a 2-1. New jungler makes
Alright.
me think there might be some upsets, but I don't know. I don't know the players.
Well, that's going to be every single one of us then, predicting this one to go to 3 games. So that will definitely be exciting. We go ahead and move on now to our next matchup, Storm.
Yeah, next up we have Blue Saber Wolves taking on Sin TBD. Will mention both these teams are equal. They're both 2-1 the past 3 weeks. The Blue Saber Wolves are, heating up at the right time, so to speak, in Demacia. But as we can all kind of agree, I think Sin TBD is probably the second best team in this group, I want to say, with Cheers kind of not doing too hot. Does Spuds, would you agree with me that Sin is looking like the second best team in this group, or would you give it to someone else?
I would give it to Sin TBD.
Okay.
I think they had a cold start, but I think they fixed their issues. They're warming up for playoffs.
Lucy, you also have Sin winning. Any particular reason why, or you just think that they're the better team?
They're just a better team. Nothing particular. Hard to say with this region.
Okay. Nahor, I believe you've played both of these teams, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do you have any particular insights to playing either of these teams, or
Let me look at the roster real quick.
Yeah, SimTBD have Callie G, Guo, Sean, Koopa, and XVII, which is quick math 17.
Yeah.
And then they're playing, I'm blanking right now. Who are they playing? The Saber Wolves, right?
yeah?
Emeralds, Shadow, Crash, Mystic, and Silly Goofy SCP.
Yeah, no, I think the Syndicate team will win pretty easily. I think Sean's a pretty good mid laner, and XVI is a pretty solid support. So I think it'll be a 2-0.
Do you
Okay.
know if XVII is actually prefers that to be pronounced 17 or XVII?
Oh,
Has been
I
around
have
for-
no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, if I cast him, I don't think we've cast Sin TPD yet this season, have we, Storm?
Nope. Gone through a different team every single week.
Yeah. If I do cast him at some point, I'm definitely going to go with 17 until instructed otherwise. Quick note there. I also wanted to note really quickly before we move on to this next matchup. It's really interesting. Here in Demacia, the difference between second place and last place in the division is only 4 points. It's mint crash outs like way out in front, and then everybody else is actually so close. Even Monkey's Paw, who've only got 1 win, are still only 4, or no, that's not quite right actually. They're
They're
6
6
points behind second place,
Yeah.
yeah. But they're only 4 points behind third, which is pretty crazy. But moving on to our next matchup, we do have Elysium Encore versus Draconic Spire. This is going to be an interesting one. I am predicting Elysium to win. I've been kind of believing in this Elysium team all season. They haven't really been able to figure everything out just yet. They have been struggling a little bit. But I do feel like there are some pretty strong players on this roster, even if a couple of them are off role. Storm, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I have Elysium Encore winning this one. I think this is going to be a pretty close series. Again, Draconic Spire has a new AD carry who's 4-1 now that they've heating up. Maybe that's the catalyst for this team getting in. I'm really curious to hear Nahor's thought. I think you guys played Elysium last week, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
playing. I wasn't playing.
Oh, okay. I mean, you still have Draconic Spire winning, unlike the rest of us. Is there a reason, or is it just that you recognize Saylor and kind of go, that guy's amazing?
Yeah, I think it'll be very close. I mean, I don't. I just chose them based off their icon. That looks a little cooler.
Okay.
But I think they're very like similar teams, like very same elo, kind of similar stats too. So I just give it to them.
Okay. Lucy, you have Elysium winning alongside us. Any particular reason, or just you think that's the better team?
Maybe you just really enjoy their logo as well, Lucy?
Honestly, that's like, hello? Oh, Mike wasn't picking up for a second, but yeah,
You were muted there.
their logo is nice. I think both logos are nice. It's gonna be a close game. I don't know what more to say.
All right, fair enough. Spuds,
I think
you have.
for I think for this match, there's a lot of playoff implications based on
Yeah.
how this match goes because they're both on the cusp.
Yeah.
Especially as tight as the race is. So the pressure's ramped up, and I think I have more faith in the LE roster to manage that pressure and perform under it tonight.
Nice. Yeah, could see it. Could see it. Let's go ahead and move on now to our last matchup. We're going to have the Mint Crash Outs, your squad Spuds. You're going to be going up against Monkeys Cheer this week. A lot of folks, I think, had some relatively high expectations for this Monkeys Cheer squad heading into the season. They have also been struggling a little bit. Spuds, what are your thoughts going into this matchup?
It's just another Tuesday.
Just another Tuesday. Business as usual. Are you going to pick up another 2-0, keep that perfect record going?
That is what we had written down on the schedule.
All right. Sounds good. And while we have you here, Spuds, and we are running short on time, so I'm sorry to go off topic again here, but over the course of the season, we've had a couple of weeks where teams have actually FF'd rather than play against your squad. I was wondering if you have any thoughts about that.
Not ours.
That's the Big Chillers.
That is fake news.
Oh,
that's the Bing Chillers Winston
I am
Winions.
spreading fake news. I'm so sorry, guys.
Unlike the Winions who are picking up fake wins, we are in the trenches every Tuesday, 2-0ing every team. They're a fake squad. We're the real ones.
Thank you very much for correcting me, Spuds. I apologize for my false assertion there. But Lucy, you are actually predicting the Monkeys to take the win tonight. How do you think that's going to happen?
I mean, it's a pot shot to say. It's a crazy call for sure, but I have a feeling in my gut, and I think if Monkeys Cheers can take control of mid lane, not let their mid laner get ahead. From what I've seen, the Mint's mid laner is absurd, really, really good player, and if they can kind of neutralize that they have a genuine chance.
All right, interesting. Well, Nahor, you're also predicting the Crash Outs to take this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think all monkey teams are having issues, but I mean, I do think Cheers have a chance. I mean, they do have solid laners. I just don't know if their bot lane can keep up. But I think Mint has shown over time that they've been a team that as could win it all essentially.
All right. Yeah, bottom side of the map going to be extra important to keep an eye on, I guess, for this matchup. But that's going to do it for this episode of Otter Talk, guys. We're just going to get into some shout-outs now. Spuds, shout-outs, please.
Huge shout out to P Dog's Internet. He told us an hour ago
Nice.
that we needed an e-sub because he was potentially going to lose power, but it is on.
Oh,
let's
he's back.
go.
He's here. Okay, great. Nahor, your shout-outs, please.
Shout out to my wife. She lets me play this game still, even though I'm away from her. So there you go.
Wholesome. Lucy, shout-outs, please. Lucy, your mic. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to TTM. I believe in the 7-0. Otherwise, I don't have much else.
All right, great. Well, we'll see if they can do it. We are going to go to a short break, guys. We'll be right back for Conduit Sun versus Monkey's Paw. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Welcome to our Week 6 matchup between Conduit Sun and Monkey's Paw. Looks like we're going to be starting off with Conduit Sun on the blue side for this one, Storm. Both of these teams currently on a 4-game loss streak and really needing to bounce back now with only a couple of weeks left of the round robin.
Yep, both these teams really desperate to pick up a win. Like I had mentioned, Monkey's Paw are in Fantasyland, that they can get into playoffs if they win every single game and have teams lose games and have the stars align as long as it's on the Tuesday. But we do see bands coming out here, Conduit Sun going after mid laners, whereas Monkey's Paw have decided that they're going to ban top laners despite having the possibility of round 5 counterpick, which is interesting.
Very interesting, yeah, definitely. We were just hearing from Nahor on Otter Talk that Monkey's Paw do have a new jungler tonight. They've got Metal coming in there, so that'll be interesting to see what he decides to bring out and how the team's able to play around him. You know, Nahor was telling us that main reason to bring Metal in was because he's a jungler with kind of a bigger voice, has kind of more input in how he wants to play the game than maybe their previous jungler did. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for is, how the team is able to play around the jungle and what those macro calls are going to be looking like, particularly in the early game.
Yeah, hopefully we can see that this team is able to more be together as a group, that there was competing voices, I think was the way he phrased it. So we do see Conduit Sun, that first lock-in of the Tristana, is technically a flex, but almost always goes to 80 carry role nowadays.
Absolutely right. You know,
Monkey's
Protomorph,
Paw,
I don't see any Tristana there on the op.gg. So yeah, most likely the bot laner there.
Yeah.
The Volibear being picked up pretty early is interesting. That could be another flex, right? We do see still the top lane Volibear come out a decent amount.
Yeah, very much so. And those are two matchups that Volibear struggles really heavily into, and with both Mundo and Urgot. Mundo being someone you can never really fight in extended fights because he just kites you away and you never get your W healing off, and Urgot can just 100 to 0 you. So those bans do make sense. If it is top lane Volibear, I'm assuming they're going to keep this as a flex as long as possible, and I'm hoping that they do, just because there's lots of things that Volibear struggles into.
Sure.
Do see Conduit Sun has locked in the rest of their first round picks, going for the Ivern jungle.
Yeah.
Kind
Obviously, it's a great pairing with Tristana. What were you going to say?
Yeah, just weird champion. Kind of hate seeing them in my games because he always does these stupid invades that my jungle gets mad at, and then I'm like, oh, fine, I'll go ward, and then I'm late to lane, and it happens anyway because he takes like 2 seconds to clear camp.
Yeah, Ivern can be a very tilting jungler to play against. He's kind of similar to Shaco in that regard, where it's just kind of, you can do some kind of cheesy things that most under junglers can't do, and that can be a little bit tilting. So a little bit of a test perhaps for Metal right off the bat here in game number 1. See how he's able to handle the Ivern pressure. They're going to go for their support lock-in as well there on the R3 with the Rel. So able to match the engage power of the Alistar, although typically we see Alistar is actually a response to the Rel, right? Where you can kind of headbutt her away when she goes for the Magnet Storm to really mitigate that ultimate. So a little bit surprising that we would see the Rel picked for Nahor into the Alistar.
Yeah, definitely agree. As far as I was concerned, I was pretty sure that that was a support counter pick. Feel like you could have played Nautilus or something similar to that, which would have, kind of done the same thing. But I do know that Nahor does really like Rel and Alistair. I believe those are two of his most picked champions, other than the weird stuff that he is always playing, like Pantheon support and whatnot.
Sure. Looks like we're going to have the Ahri here on the R4, so they are holding that Volibear flex, just like you were hoping to see, Storm.
Yeah.
We wait for this Conduit Sun 4-5. I believe in your content, you highlighted the bot lane as really the main players to watch, right, in this matchup?
Yeah, I had kind of said for Conduit Sun that they've been playing really well through their bot lane. I think that that's kind of their strength. But I think Monkey's Paw has the potential to match them. That Maze has been a player in previous seasons we've seen of other leagues, has been a dominant AD carry. Nahor back in the day, like 3 or 4 years ago, was one of the best supports in the league. I don't know, with being the old man and being married, if he has as much time to dedicate anymore. But I feel like it's kind of the strength of Conduit Sun is their bot lane, and that's where I'm expecting this there to come from. And
All right.
those are some interesting picks. Aurelian Soul mid lane. And then
Yeah.
Trundle to match maybe this just kind of blind, I guess. Right? This is
It
top
basically
Trundle.
is. I mean, maybe they have the read that it's Volibear top, but it looks like that's
Yeah.
not going to be the case, as the Aatrox going to get locked in on R5. I don't know if the Aatrox necessarily has that much of a better matchup against the Trundle, but at least he does have a dash to get to the other side of the ice pillar. So there's that.
This is one of those matchups where if you're good at Aatrox, it's really, really easy to beat Trundle, because
Okay.
Trundle has to basically run at you, right? Trundle can't do anything other than run at you. So that's playing into your Q speed spots. You do have the dash to reposition, and it is thick enough to go through the ice pillar. So like you can't just rely on the ice pillar to be able to beat someone's face in. I am not liking it into the Aurelian Soul specifically. I think this A-Soul is going to give Monkey's Paw a lot of issues, just because they're the only real way I see that they're going to get on top of it is something like the unstoppable Volibear coming in, but I don't think anyone's really going to be able to follow up with that. You know, Ari can get some damage. Rel is going to get punted away by this Alistair. You're going to have Daisy from Ivern kind of policing that. I think Conduit Sun's kind of playing in almost some ways. They're playing disengaged. This is going to be, 4 champions sticking together, and then Trundle's off on his own in the side lane. Whereas Monkey's Paw is very much more wanting to play together as 5 and bring this to team fights.
Yeah, you're saying Conduit wants to, or Monkey's Paw wants to go to 5v5s.
Yeah, Monkey's Paw wants to bring it to 5v5, whereas I think Conduit is trying to split this map open. That they're wanting Trundle to never ever join a fight and just have A-Soul scale up as much as possible.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. The A-Soul, you were saying can be really strong into this Monkey's Paw composition. I'm still a little bit surprised to see it. I mean, your synergy with the Ivern is pretty much non-existent, right? The 2v2 mid jungle from Conduit Sun is just not really something that they can play with at all. So certainly I could see a world where the Ivern is providing good value later on in fights, where he's kind of able to use Daisy to be that extra front line for the A-Soul, to get a little bit more time to do that cosmic breathing and stuff. But it is a little bit surprising to see the A-Soul get picked here, from my eyes.
Yeah, I also have a biased view of A-Soul. I played a lot with Albino Sunbear over on the side of Mint when we were winning generally, and he was really good at that champion. So I kind of see A-Soul and just go, good, we have a good A-Soul on the team. That means we have late game in the bag no matter what. Unsure of how well, Protomorph's going to do on it. They do, I think, play it a fair amount or have played it. They played it last season a couple of games anyway, I can see. And I believe they've already picked it this season in BOL. So.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, normally, thinking about Aurelian Soul, you think about him as a champion that mostly thrives in the 5v5, right? In the team fights. So, for that reason is looking...
Oh, it's Ivern top.
Okay.
Okay. That changes a lot of things.
Yes. What are some of those changes, Storm, that you feel like we should mention?
I cannot. So Aatrox into ranged matchups is very, very weird. Becomes this thing where you are playing Comet and going full lethality, and you're not able to exist on the front line anymore. It's incredibly volatile. I will say that for one. I will also say that Trundle matches up in the jungle incredibly well against Volibear, so that's better.
Yeah.
Trundle and Aurelion Sol sounds like a much, much better
Definitely.
2v2. But how on earth is Ivern going to not get absolutely fisted when he gets rooted by Aatrox? I've seen like Aatrox is like that classic like, oh, my mid laners picked TF and or Oriana, and it's like, aha, we've got our blind pick mid, we're gonna win. And the enemy team mid laner slams Aatrox and goes, hey, I'm going to stat check you by pressing Q on you a third time, and you will die because you do not have any resistances like Ivern.
It's really interesting. I wonder if Conduit's Sun were picking the Trundle explicitly for the matchup against the Volibear, and they were just, seeing the Volibear get flexed into jungle, they just called the audible at the very end there to swap the Ivern into top lane, or maybe this is something that they were considering the whole time. So they picked the Ivern relatively early, right? So
yeah, I'm
there's
even looking right now at Aloe Clasper, I believe, is the top laner for this team,
he's the
and
jungler.
oh,
the
is
jungler.
sorry, who do we have in top lane? Capfill,
It's
right?
Capfill is the top laner. Yeah. Yep.
Huh? They play a lot of Aatrox themselves.
Interesting. So then probably knows. Probably it must. I mean, have some degree of
Yeah,
confidence in this matchup. Then, if he
they
knows
must
the
know
Aatrox.
something then,
All right.
because I can't imagine that this is going to go well.
So are you pretty squarely on the side of Monkey's Paw then with this game 1 draft? Nahor
Oh.
was telling us that he's predicting them to take game number 1 as well.
Yeah, with that Ivern top, I don't know how your team sidelines anymore. This team now is full 5v5 on both sides. And your Ivern doesn't get to use his passive very much, and you can't even run Smite anymore. They took that out with this season. So there's none of the cheesy Smite stuff unless we're taking Unsealed Spellbook, which further exasperates the 1v1 issues I foresee. But yeah, I think Pa takes it.
Well, this is shaping up to be a very interesting first game, guys. We're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be right back for the first game of week number 6. everybody, welcome onto the Rift. Our apologies, we did have a slight tech delay getting into this one, but we can see those top laners are scrapping, flashing forward as Capvillain gets the first blood just like that.
Yeah, I mean, we were questioning the Ivern pick, but it's working out right now.
Definitely is. And now 2v2 in the bottom lane as the crash down away for Nahor. As Clasper getting in there with the pillar. They're not going to be able to chase down anybody. It's like our junglers. We do have metal down here on the bottom side of the map as well.
Yeah, but it's on a ward, so I think Trundle gets this. Unless Maze is going to rotate over with Nahor. But now we see Volibear is just pathing up towards top scuttle here, so they're going to leave that behind. But Trundle is wrapping around here.
There's the flash headbutt pull from Bold Fonts. They're looking to lock down this Rel. Nahor flashing away, trying to stay alive. The pillar is decent, but they can't quite close the distance. So they get a lot of summoners there. In fact, all the summoners off of the Monkey's bot lane except for that Ignite on Nahor. But not quite able to get any kills.
Yeah, good to see. Do you see that in the mid lane, Ahri here has a really large advantage over this Aurelion Soul early. Probably one of those things that if you sit there and press your Q button, Ahri gets to throw her spells at you non-committally and gets to hit charms. That's probably not the greatest lane matchup, but I feel like what we all really want to see is what the hell is happening? Why did we pick this top lane matchup?
Yeah. I mean, so interesting to think about the mind games there. I mean, I think clearly for the side of Conduit Sun, when they locked the Trundle, that was a response to the Volibear, right? And then when that Aatrox R5 pick came in, clearly I think they made the calls, like, we still want Trundle into Volibear at any... Ooh, that's a flash in the mid lane. Is Risen able to get the Summoner Spell advantage with the Spirit Rush? Was able to get level 6 first, obviously, because they already had the push. So nice moves there. But the Ivern top seems to be working beautifully so far, Storm.
Yeah, doing absolutely fantastic job.
Oh, here comes Nitro Dax. Trying to get in there with the sweet spots. Not quite able to find the Q3, though. Capfill has about one wave of a CS advantage in addition to getting that first blood that we were just about able to get. But now he is in a bit of trouble. Out comes Daisy to make an honest 2v2. Does taxi over to the Volibear, and the knockup from Daisy creates the space. They can't quite catch the Ivern. Capfill even playing with him a little bit, kiting over to the side. The 1v2, the Ivern top. Capfill, oh, he's looking for the double. He taxis forward towards the minion. Daisy gets the kill. It's Capfill on the 1v2 on the Ivern top, just absolutely owning the monkeys.
Bro, this guy is absolutely cracked at this. I have never seen people taxiing around like that on Ivern in lanes.
That was clean. That was really clean.
Wow.
That was crazy. Oh, what is happening in this game? I mean, I remember as well. I mean, Ivern, Aurelion Sol, Tristana, their scaling is insane.
Yeah. And we see Ivern is building AP. There's a lost chapter. This isn't, we're going to be a full, like, support timer or something like that. Okay.
What lost chapter item are we going for, do you think?
It's probably got to be like Ludens or something, right? For burst? I can't imagine it's going to be like a burn item.
Yeah, what are all the options again? It's Leandri's.
Seraphs?
Seraphs doesn't build out of Lost Chapter. It builds out of Tier, Blasting Wand, and Giant Spell, I thought.
Does it? I thought it did.
Oh, it does build out of Lost Chapter now? Oh, my mistake. Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah, Archangels, Blackfire, Ludens, or Malignants.
Archangels, Blackfire, Ludens, or Malignants. Okay.
Maybe Malignants and Daisy procs it as you hit people?
Does she proc it? Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah,
we got
it's
another
like
wraparound from Metal in the bottom lane, but the headbutt is beautiful from Bold Font. Metal taking so much damage here, flashing for the Tristana domination, dominating the Volibear. And oh, the new Monkey's Paw jungler, a little bit of number 2 on his face after that one.
Yeah, definitely some egg in there. That was
That's
bad.
what I was
oh my god, Capfill.
Oh wow. Holy, is this game just over? Look, another headbutt pull of Engage in the bottom lane. Boldfont looking for the knockup on a Mace. Does take a
That's
turret
a
shot,
little
and
bit
there's a kill over to the
risky.
Jinx. Magnustorm coming out now. The Nahor has the lockdown, but the Buster Shot came out from Domination to create that space between the Jinx, and Maze was extremely low health as well. So it does end up just being that one kill over to Maze. That's first of the game for the Monkeys. But with this complete topside control, Clasper is going to lock down all three of these grubs.
Yeah, and reminder, we are in this new season here, so this is the one set of grub spawn, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so those are gone now. The next objective respawning up there will be the Rift Herald, and the first dragon was also taken over here on the side of Conduit Sun. Monkeys pretty much 0-4 in this early game.
Yeah, so Conduit just need one more neutral objective to get the Feats of Strength, which is also buffed on this patch, guys, remember? The boots are like 33% cheaper than they were before.
Yep, only
Oh,
500
very nice
gold
buff.
now.
Oh, now we have the mid supports for the Monkeys moving in here to try to get some vision. 2 minutes on the dragon. Well, that ward at least going to get some information pertaining to the setup of said dragon.
Yeah.
Both junglers hovering around the mid lane right now. Flash forward for the charm, but Derizen didn't know that the Trundle was waiting in the bush, but he does have his own jungler there. Of course, the pillar, though, pretty nice. The skies descend. Metal in trouble. Uses the Stormbringer to get back out to safety. Super Mega Death Rocket going to sail by. Nobody goes down, but LL Clasper did have to flash there at the end. Derizen also flashing, of course. Oh my god, there's another solo kill. What? This
Yeah.
Ivern is like 5-0 now. He's 5-0.
And he's taken 4 plates and soon to be this whole tower.
Oh my, it's
sweet
10 minutes.
Jesus. Bro, why have we not built Merc Treads as Aatrox? What are we doing? Why are we...
Man.
What
So
the
you
fuck?
mentioned, coming out of our you know, as we realized that it was Ivern top, you mentioned that Aatrox in these ranged matchups usually wants to go for the Comet, right, to have some kind of threat. Didn't just choose to go for it, as the shield for Capfill prevents him from being in any real danger, and now Nitro Dax getting chomped by the Trundle is down so low, and there's another wave coming in. Nitro, you just got to get out of here. I'm
You
sorry,
leave.
it sucks to give up the tower, but if you stay, you are just going to die alongside it. Does find one sweet spot, forces out the flash from Capfill, but that's all that Nitro is going to get. Does find the chains, the pillar for the slow. He doesn't have flash. There's just no way he gets out of this one. Oh, the movement speed enough, I guess. Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. Just walked
Okay.
into the trigger seed. Oh. He's got half the CS of Ivern top.
I don't know what to say. This guy is not playing right. You're supposed... If your opponent rushes boots, you must also rush boots. That is how top lane works. That's how most lane matchups work. It's an early spike that you can get. Movement speed is one of the most important stats in the game. I have no idea what this tunneler is doing for us. What are we building a tunneler into as Aatrox?
Yeah.
Is this, like, Sterix Gauge first item? Like, what?
I don't know. I don't know. It could also be Sundered Sky, right?
Yeah, but
not saying I agree with it.
I guess that's like the normal Aatrox build currently.
Well, we are not in a
Oh,
normal
God.
Aatrox game, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for Nitro, as we do find the stun onto
Oh my
Nahor, who does then
God.
crash
It is
down over the
Malignance
wall.
Ivern.
Malignance Ivern. So Daisy must proc it. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, we just have to give Capfill the benefit of the doubt. I mean, clearly he knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, I think they're about to
Oh.
dive them bot lane.
Metal having some slight connection issues, as we do see the dive lane in the bot getting set up. It's a 4-man play. Capfill is here somehow, and they're just going to get absolutely obliterated. Look at that. Metal is here, but it's just going to be another kill given over, most likely. We also have a teleport in for Derizen, but it's just... Oh, the last tower shot is going to get the kill onto Boldfont. So that is one little bit of a silver lining for the Monkeys, but Derizen now is going to get jumped on by the Tristana, and it's Clasper, actually, who takes the last hit as the Trundle now also on a spree. They're going to get all 5 plates off of this bot lane turret as well. Oh, the
Ooh.
Super Mega Rocket from Maze. That is another kill for the Monkeys. It's 2 now for the Jinx, but I mean, that's already like a 4,500 gold lead, man. Like, this is insane. This game it's been completely blown open.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge like
Look at that
shutdown of
difference
British.
in the top lane.
But yeah,
Oh.
it's not a good sign when your top laner is 2,000 gold, like
3,000,
gold.
over
Yeah,
3,000,
when you're
less than half of Ivern's gold.
yeah, when you have as much money as the enemy support, it's not a good game.
Oh, absolutely insane. Usually we think of Ivern as the supportive champion, right?
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna go for support Aatrox this game. See how it goes.
Yep. Still building towards some sort of fighter item up there in the top lane. Do you see Aurelion Sol has got his Rylai's done to provide all that utility. This is AP Volibear jungle from Metal here.
That means he's not very tanky, and now he's getting jumped on by this Tristana, who is completely unlocked on the map after taking that bot tier 1 turret. So that is going to be the flash off of Metal. Looks like he will lose the red buff as well. As actually, it looks like Aatrox able to get in there and yoink that one away. Domination still going to press his advantage with a flash forward for Nahor. The flash response is not enough to get Domination out. Really nice rocket there from Maze. Gets a kill onto the Tristana. And now the charm onto the Aurelion Sol as well. Boldfont trying to get away, but the Asa will not be able to. Look at Catfill, though. The Ivern into the back line. Daisy trying to finish off this Aatrox, but they are sticking around a long time after losing both carries with a double headbutt pull from the Alistar. The Ivern and the Trundle have the damage. Unbelievable. Ivern Trundle carrying the game for Conduit Sun. It's a complete wipe. The 5-for-2 team fight. Conduit Sun, 5,000 gold in the lead.
Yep, and there's some of that, you know, playing with somebody different thing. You saw Maze was able to get out, and they were happy to leave that fight. And Nahor went over that wall and went for that engage. That the fight was won. It was a 2 advantage, and they just re-engaged. They just need to slow it down. They had the bounties. I don't think that there's...
I hear you, but from Nahor's perspective, like, they just killed both carries. They got Tristana and Asol. Normally, in a normal game of League of Legends, they still had all 5 alive. They're like, okay, it's winning. We got both the carries. Let's get them. Unfortunately for Nahor, this is not a normal game of League of Legends.
Yep. Your team right now is Maze and it's Dezerin, and then you have 3 wards right now. Like, I don't think this Aatrox or Volibear are going to be useful for like another 10 minutes, if I'm being honest. Like, it's going to be 25 minutes till these guys have like anywhere near a second item.
That's going to be unfortunate. Oh, that's another fight brewing down here in the bot side river. Flashing for the charm, but Risen can't land it. Nahor has already crashed down in retreat as well. Boldfont is a little bit sad. Look at Catfill on the flank again. The Ivern is just teleporting. He got directly on top of Maze. Nobody is protecting the Jinx. The Aurelion Sol brings down the Sky. Another double kill for the Trundle. Nitro Dax still doesn't even have his first item yet. Can't do anything. It's going to get taken down by the Ivern again. And yeah, this one's looking pretty Overstorm.
Yep, that's 20 kills in 16 minutes. This is the FF vote in solo queue.
That's crazy. 20 kills in 17 minutes. Just for one team.
Yeah. I don't think we've
There's a
seen
Schlacking,
a
and then there's whatever this is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is like curb stomp, like American X style. Like, this is bad.
Yeah, there's like some Mortal Kombat stuff happening in League of Legends right now. It's pretty brutal.
And they're just going in again.
No, they don't even care. They can just keep fighting. There's no reason not to fight. They're just winning all of them. Risen again, trying to make something happen. This time we do have Protomorph a little bit separated from the team. Nahor is going to get taken out first. They do find the Asol, and there's that Jinx passive running. Like, nice charm that time from Risen. They're able to chunk out Domination a little bit. Here comes Daisy. Aatrox is also here, but I don't think the side of Conduit Sun are really too bothered about it. They're going to be able to chase down to Risen. Rocket jumping forward is Domination. Maze is running towards the wrong base. This Jinx has nowhere to go. There's the headbutt pull from the Alistar. And who is going to get the kill? It is Domination on the Tristana, picking up his third consecutive.
Okay, surely this
finding a
is too
killing
much,
spree.
right?
Oh, surely they kill him. They do. They do
Okay.
actually shut him down. Okay, first kill of the game for Metal. That's something.
Yeah. Pretty sure Nitro would have really liked that. It's probably Aatrox, I think, is one of the worst champions in the game when behind, because minions have a lot of armor and not a lot of MR, and Aatrox only does AD damage.
Yeah, but
So-
remember, we're playing support Aatrox this game, Storm.
Right.
Fine. We don't need
Right.
gold for that.
We're gonna finish our Sterix gauge, and then we're gonna. Oh no, that's Spirit Shogun. Okay.
Okay. Surely we're gonna get like what's a support item that Aatrox could theoretically build? I can't even think
Pretty
of
much any
Zeeks?
redemption, something like that.
Redemption? Yeah.
You get the extra healing, right? When you're
Okay.
in alt mode.
Surely we're going redemption second this game.
Yeah, I just want to see us build Mercury treads. That's what I really want to see.
That's a more reasonable request. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
I don't know why our Volibear is going for that. The speedy movement speed item. Deadman's Plate. I guess there's the slow of a soul and
Yeah.
Ivern.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the idea is they just need to get on top of the Ivern, and then maybe they have a chance in the fights. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this
All right, well,
should
we're
get another
sieging the
tower
tier 2
going
turret
down.
in the bottom lane. Yeah, this is going to explode pretty much instantly. Tristana
Yep.
Trundle things.
Yep,
And we do
this
have a little
is-
while to the next dragon. What were you going to say?
This is a 9k gold lead, basically, at 20 minutes.
It is, yeah, it's true. 8K.
Sure.
8.2.
Yeah. You know,
Uh,
that's fine.
oh, yeah, way better than 9K. For sure.
Yeah.
We do have an Otacon starting out. Looks like this is not going to be contested. This is an on-spawn Otacon, or a T1 Otacon, if you will.
Yeah, and this
I don't
is
know
the
if
new
that's really-
Otacon that gives
True.
you the extra benefit when you kill the flowers now, right? I think is what it does different. Doesn't drop all the flowers anymore.
It doesn't put down flowers for you to collect. I think what
Yeah.
happens is when you defeat the Otacon, then
Yeah,
it
here we go.
automatically picks up all of the flowers currently on the map. So you just like automatically get a big boost there. And then they gave it the new passive where when you get a takedown,
Oh,
there's the
goodbye,
little like
Nitro
slow
Dax.
field and a little extra burst of damage, I think.
Daisy's just gonna walk at him. I think Daisy might walk this man down.
Yeah, still no boots for the Aatrox, so Daisy's movement speed almost enough to catch up to him, but looks like Nitro is just barely quick enough to escape from the Golem. And now we do have to think about this next dragon. Less than a minute out would be Cloud Soul Point for Conduit's son. But do we really have to think about the dragon, or are we thinking about game 2? Where are you at right now, Storm?
I'm pretty much thinking about game 2. Unless Jinx gets
Nice
like a
pillar.
quadra kill.
Nahor has the flash. Will get away. No flash on your support. Going to make it really hard to try to contest for any vision over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically it's all eyes on Jinx. Desrin doesn't have enough damage to kill anyone when they're behind like they are right now. They're not really, behind, but they're not ahead as Ahri. So you aren't able to burst anyone through a combination of spells. So it's all on Maze.
All right.
Capsule
Well, at
is
least the
going to
Jinx
kill
does
this
have
guy.
2 items. Yeah. Well, Metal is here, so and they actually brought
Yeah.
Derizen this time as well. So that's gonna get the flash out from Catfield to avoid the charm, and the Ivern is just going to get taken down. Derizen gets the last hit. Try to get this Ahri into a little bit of a better place. And
Oh.
ultimately, that was a great call for Monkey's Paw, right? You can't contest the dragon. Look for the cross map. Catfill was
Yeah.
overextended. That's some good gold onto the Ahri. Why did you
And that was a Jinx Rocket just as the smite came down. So
Oh.
that was quite close. I think they timed that incredibly well despite not being on any vision. Nitro Dax, what you doing, buddy?
Ooh, he's dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's dying really
Did that answer your
fast.
question?
I guess.
Okay, good. Glad I could help.
Yeah, thank you.
And now let's see if this inhibitor turret is also going to die. Looks like the answer is emphatically yes. Will the inhibitor itself also die? Looks like also yes. Looks like that's all we're going to be getting for now. Still a couple of minutes until Baron joins us on the Rift.
Yeah, but again, one of those things. Aatrox, I don't know if he beats a super minion at this point in the game. Normally has trouble killing them anyways. And when you're 0-8, I don't think he's going to do very well when fighting one.
Yeah, that would be an epic battle. See if we can get that later. Aatrox versus the super minion. Oh, we're gonna get it pretty soon, actually.
Next
Here
wave,
comes
yeah.
the minion.
Yeah, see how much it's taking us to kill a cannon? Alright, let's see.
the Mercy camera pan from, oh, we're back.
Yeah.
He's winning for now.
Yeah,
okay.
that's going pretty well. Okay.
All right. So Nitro wins his first battle against the super minion. So now let's see how he does. Well, I guess, yeah, he only has to deal with the one supers for now. Unless there's like wave that gets stacked up where there are multiple super minions, then maybe we have more questions. But Nitro's doing okay as long as there's nobody else in the side lane with him. Then he should be totally fine.
45 seconds till Baron comes up. We see...
Oh, another amazing pillar from Clasper. Nahor is just pinned in there. Can't even move his character at all. Just going to get taken down. Derizen now in a tough spot. Has to use all those charges on the Spirit Rush to try to get away. The flash in there, though. The flash engage from Boldfont and Protomorph bringing down the sky. Gets himself to a killing spree, and now the mid-inhibitor turret is the target. No defense going to be mustered by the side of the Monkeys. 2 inhibitors already taken down. They probably don't even need the Baron. Look at even the little Void Mites, the little Shatters getting in there and do some work as well. Nexus turret's now under fire. Are we getting the end right here? There's still 15 seconds on Derizen. First Nexus turret taking down, another engage from Boldfont underneath that last remaining Nexus turret. Just focus the tower, guys, and I think you've got it. They're going to take down Meadow first here off on the side. Tries to flash away, gets back onto the fountain, will survive the explosive charge. Now Boldfont has been taken down. Now Maze got the passive running. Can they chase down some more kills here? Capville finds the root, but the charm's going to connect, and the Ivern's going to get given over to Maze as well. So a little bit disorganized there at the end. I think Conduit Sun, if they were a little bit more focused, they probably could have ended there, but not going to happen as the other Nexus turret will die to minions.
Nitrodax is going to spot this. Does see. Is he going to get led into and die? Nope. Protomorph.
Oh, and we just canceled our flight there for the Aurelian Soul as well. And there is the sweet spot's landing. Never mind. The sweet spot's not quite landing. Yeah, looks like he's just gonna glide away. Oh, we're flat.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. It hurts. It really hurts. Oh, no, he's
Goodbye. You could just stand there and accept your death, man.
Oh, this is not Conduit Sun starting Baron. Yeah, it's a mistake. It's
yeah, it's the call.
Yeah, I think we're dead for the Volibear, and reset on the jump, and now Maze is dead as well. They had to try something. Oh, there's a shutdown for Derizen, actually. Does manage to take down the Tristana. But now it's only Derizen and Nahor left. A cute little dash over the wall there. Gets Derizen out. Nahor not going to be so lucky. And this should just be the end right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Nexus turrets left. They've already dealt with the Nexus turrets. It's just a naked Nexus. And Conduit Sun should be able to take that one down.
But Nitrodax is up in 4 seconds.
Very comfortably. Oh! No, that's not relevant, Storm. I think you knew that already.
Yeah.
As Derizen's going to get taken down. Clasper goes legendary. Nitrodax going to get taken down alongside this Nexus. And what a devastating demolition that Monkey's Paw just suffered in that first game, and what an emphatic win for Conduit Sun to break their loss streak with the Ivern top. And Storm, my man, oh, you've got to just be in shambles over there. The resident Conduit Sun hater just was made to look a bit silly.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Capville, knows something I do not, apparently. Made Nitrodax look like someone who should not be an Emerald currently. absolutely disgusting. Domination played well. Protomorph was a brilliant soul and was there in case this game somehow got late.
That's
LO
true.
Clasper in the jungle, also incredible. 22.0
Yeah.
KDA, as you can see. That's a pretty high number. That's
Yeah. Wow. I mean, okay. Yeah, so you could say that you weren't familiar with Catphil's game, perhaps.
I think that's an accurate representation, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, are things to watch for the side of the monkeys in this game? The new jungler, right? We were hoping to see some crisp shot calling. Ultimately, I don't know if the game ever really got to a point where uh, that was relevant. Shot calling, that is, for the side of the monkeys.
Yeah.
There was that really, really unfortunate top lane gank where Catfill 1v2'd them. That was a moment in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really say anything, but this game was like decided like nearly by the time we started spectating
Yeah.
after Ivern solo killed Aatrox and then like 2 minutes later got a double kill or whatever it was. Like that game's over at that point. Like start thinking of next game.
Well, I think it's a pretty obvious POG, honestly, for this first one for
Yeah.
the side of Conduit Sun. Do we? I don't think we even really need to say it, but it's Catfill's Ivern.
Yeah.
Just absolutely dominated them in that first game. We are, of course, going to be swapping sides now for the second one. And are we going to break or are we getting into draft right now, Mr. Producer? All right, we're going to go to a break. We're going to be right back, guys, for game number 2. Hopefully, Monkey's Paw are going to be able to somehow bounce back. The mental is going to need to be strong if they have a chance in this one. All right, guys, welcome back. We're here for the Game 2 draft between Conduit Sun and Monkey's Paw. Monkey's Paw going to be moving over to the red side this time around. So they are going to be the ones with that R5 at counterpick option this time around. No, wait. Is that right? Monkey's Paw is on the red side, right?
Yep, they're remaking looks.
The sides are incorrect. I got bamboozled a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. I'm a little bit dizzy after that game number 1. As you can imagine, Monkey's Paw probably are as well. So, in terms of this draft, Storm, what are we hoping to see?
For when this draft happens, we're definitely wanting to see Monkey's Paw have a nice stable team composition, like stable team comp, right? We want to have some sort of bruiser top lane or some sort of tank that isn't going to lose the game. I'd love to see, Ornn duty get thrown out there maybe. We need some clear engage from the side of our support on Nahor. And I want to see Maze again playing some sort of hyper carry. I'd love to see if Dezerin is able to play something with a little bit more damage, as they looked really good in most of that last game. Just unfortunately, they were playing the Ahri, so they weren't able to, go for any like 100 to zeros or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. The Ahri has been tweaked, of course, where they did increase those AP ratios a little bit, but still, as far as mid lane champions go, not really one of those champs that can consistently one-shot people, like you're saying, Storm. So maybe we will see a more of a stronger carry in the hands of Derizen this game. But ultimately, what you're describing doesn't really sound that different from what Monkey's Paw had in game number 1, right? Where they got absolutely rolled over. So
I'm just saying maybe Nitro Dax, maybe tonight, Aatrox wasn't a good look for game 1. Maybe we go to something that's a little bit more simple. Maybe we're gonna have a Malphite game or Scion, something where going 0-5 doesn't mean that your team loses instantly.
Yeah. Nitro did have a pretty good game on Ornn last week, so that could be an angle, definitely. For the side of Conduit Sun, I mean, who knows? What do you expect them to bring out? I mean, they could play anything after winning with Ivern and top. We just have no idea, do we?
Yeah, I was about to say, there's always there's just tons of things that you can play, right? I want to be looking at kind of like the jungle, that there's a lot of stuff that Capfil can bring out, that there's, the Zac, there's Wukong, Gwen's open and wasn't picked in this game. Varus, I believe, is still open as well as an ADC.
Yeah.
There's just every prio pick basically under the sun is up. I'm expecting Nautilus is probably going to be fairly high priority. Same with Braum. Those are the support trade I'm expecting to happen.
Okay.
Just because it's game 2, and one team is going to pick Nautilus because he is the good engaged support left.
There's Leona as well.
Yeah, but Nautilus is better. All right.
Fair enough.
And we're back in. New draft has started. Teams are on the right side.
Right.
Monkey's Paw is starting off with a Mundo ban.
Yeah, they banned Mundo, Urgot, and Aphelios last game.
Yeah.
The top lane bans turned out to not really be that effective, though. Although I guess just giving over his best picks isn't necessarily a solution.
I will say I somewhat agree more with the Mundo ban. If you're answering to it as the Aatrox that was shown last game, that's no longer available. That's kind of Mundo's hardest counter pick. So I agree with that ban. Urgot one, don't really agree with. There's lots of armor stacking tanks that you can pick into him. Xin Zhao, love that pick. Great early jungler for the side of metal. Just is good early, gives your team that availability and to fight for early objectives. Love to see it.
Yeah, definitely a pretty strong champ these days. And this feels like another little bit of a self-counter pick situation. I mean, the Jarvan is, you can kind of match the early strength of the Xin Zhao in a sense, but ooh, okay. Ooh, now we're really throwing it down. Ooh, the Bel'Veth. I was about to say that Jarvan does not win against the Xin Zhao in the 1v1. but the battle between Jin Zhao and Belveth is much more of a contest, I guess you could say.
Yeah, didn't Conduit's son play this last week and get absolutely blown out? Like it was terrible. Pretty sure they did.
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah. Well, Hello Clasper was 4-2 and 5, but
Okay.
Goa they lost pretty badly. Koopa was 12-1 and 3 is Jin.
Yeah, one other thing that I was actually going to mention is I did mention at the top of the day that both teams were on a 4-game loss streak. For Conduit's son, actually, all 4 of those losses were sub 30 minutes. So they
Yeah.
have been getting stomped in a lot of these games. But last game, they were the ones doing the stomping. So it seems they perhaps may have turned things around. But Monkey's Paw, if they have a better early game, you have to imagine that maybe things could work in the other direction as well. We were talking on Otter Talk how everybody, both of us and all of our guests, were all expecting this to go to 3 games. So we'll see if they can bounce back. But a couple of more interesting picks here in this draft storm.
Yeah. Maze is a dedicated Zeri player. Is one of the few people I see ever still picking that champion after Riot basically had to break her kneecaps because of pro play issues. Same with the Cassante in top lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Camille, much more classic counter. I was about to say, I don't see GP doing good into Cassante, but Camille, very classic counter.
Yeah, that feels pretty threatening. The Aphelios as well, that is something that Conduit's son actually, or no, it was Monkey's Paw banned it when they were on red side in the previous game. They dropped the Aphelios ban for a Swain ban, and that allowed the Aphelios to go over. So we'll have to see how that does end up going.
Why did we just ban Lulu? We have Aphelios in next pick.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a Lulu on the R4 there would have been real nice. I guess they must have something else in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe they do feel like they just want that engage, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're going to look towards this Nautilus type pick or something like that. Are going to see Monkey's Paw get rid of Malzahar, one of the few kind of non-Vi answers that are available, because Belveth has been picked, so we're probably not going to see Vi this game. Camille's also been picked, so unless we
Yeah.
see Vi mid, I have seen Showmaker play it.
Sure. It's been a thing.
Yeah.
For the past couple of seasons, you see it once in a while. Usually, it's the cheesy full lethality build.
Yep. With that weird thing that Vi's for some reason has 100% AP ratio on her E, so you can start Doran Shield and one-shot minions. Okay, Fiddlesticks.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Fiddlesticks support, I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah, probably is.
Okay,
Unless they're
so
gonna.
you pick an enchanter. Zillion is an enchanter.
He is. That's true.
I would say he's probably not what Zeri wants in any way whatsoever because she has a whole bunch of speed. I would like Milio here over
But
that.
have you considered, Storm, that she would get even more speed?
Yeah, you know what? Fair. It's locked in.
It's gonna be.
This is something Nahor does play a lot, according to his op.gg. Played it 11 games last season, won 36% of those games.
Okay.
Did was
Chrono Shift. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, was gonna say back when he hit Diamond was his most played champion with a 4.92 KDA across 27 games with a 63% win rate. So
Okay. Yeah, the Chrono Shift, I was going to say, can also be really effective into the Camille specifically, right? Where she's locking
yeah.
down a single target and then you just kind of plop the Zillion ult on them and say, haha, good luck killing somebody who's just going to revive immediately afterwards. This is a fun ending to the draft as well. We've got the Blind Azir coming out for the side of Monkey's Paw for Derizen, and then the Zerath is going to be the response for Protomorph, a counter pick that we've been seeing a little bit more frequently in recent times.
Yeah, ever since Xerath got those buffs to his ultimate where sequescent hits increase the damage of it, been seeing him more and more and more. Now means that, if you get hit by 2 or 3 Xerath ults in a row when you're one of these squishy champions like Azir or Zeri, it starts like one-shotting you. He's really, really scary in like the hands of players who are good at him. But Xerath is really, really hard to play. Um,
Yeah, all skill shots, right? So
yeah,
the floor for Xerath is legitimately like the champ doesn't do anything at all if you miss everything. So
Yeah, is a complete gank magnet, has to go into auto attack things to like refill his mana. Like you have to auto attack your lane opponent somehow.
it also works on minions.
Yeah, but
Not
it's
quite as well, but
50% effective, I think. Yeah.
yeah. It's some mana in a
Mhm.
pinch. It can work. It even does also work on turrets now. That's
Okay.
probably theoretically even more difficult to achieve than the auto attacking of the champions, but and more dangerous probably if you're extending that far in the mid lane as Xerath. But could be something that comes up later on. But yeah, I mean, definitely some interesting drafts. I do feel like for the side of Monkey's Paw, it's very cohesive at least, right? It's a very strong team fighting composition. But as far as team fighting compositions go, I do feel like it's a relatively difficult to execute one. I mean, you
Yeah.
do have a decent front line there with the Kasante and the Jin Zhao, but Azir can be a little bit difficult to pilot, especially when
Yeah,
there's.
like everyone on this team are playing champions. They're very mechanically like difficult to play.
Hmm.
Like
With it, except
Azir's
for Jin Zhao.
sure, yeah. Xin Zhao is fairly simple, but like Zeri, Cassante, Zillion, and Azir, I would say are like near top of like hardest champions in their spot to play.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see the Monkeys go in that direction after that game one loss, right? It does, at least indicate to us, I think, that they're still relatively confident. So that's a good thing. If they're
Yeah.
picking these difficult champions, that indicates that they have confidence in their own abilities and their ability to execute, a relatively more difficult draft.
Mhm.
So that is good to see. For the side of Conduit Sun, it does feel really aggressive, right? Starting from that Belveth as their first pick on red side, and then the Camille, really aggressive counter pick in that top lane, and then even the Fiddlestick support coming through. It does feel like Conduit Sun are looking to make a statement here in this second game.
Yeah, so for Conduit Sun, the kind of question is like, how is this team approaching things together? So Belveth is obviously kind of just doing her thing on the sides and flanking. Fiddlesticks is just trying to play ward duty, but like, how does Aphelios, Camille, and Xerath slot in together? Is what I'm trying to think, right? Is it Camille hookshotting in and drawing attention away so that Fiddlesticks and Belveth are able to jump in and get their own flanks off? I feel like
Yeah.
that's has to be the way it's going to play out. But like, if Camille isn't seriously ahead, I think she just gets kind of annihilated. There's a lot of damage by the side of Paw that they can just pump into her if she hook shots in.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, Conduit Sun, very minimal front line, really none, right? Camille and
Yeah,
Belveth are both looking to dive. They're not looking to just stand and soak damage for Aphelios and Xerath to get out more rotations. So it feels like a draft that has to snowball for Conduit
yeah,
Sun. Like you just said, if Camille goes in when she's not really far ahead, probably just going to get popped. So um, especially
yeah.
when there's the Zillion there that can buy time. Um,
I
yeah.
think it's all on kind of like Aphelios having purple gun is going to be like the biggest thing of this game, so you can like provide CC and roots. Because I don't see a way for him to like actually just sit there and like hit people. I don't think that ever happens this game.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. If it does happen, it would feel like it would be as the result of a misposition from the Monkeys, right? If we do see a kind of a situation like that.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I think it's pretty safe to say that on paper, we like the Monkeys Paw draft quite a bit more, right, Storm?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's safe to say, like, if you're, analyzing it, it's safe and it makes sense.
Hmm.
For
But
the
we
side
did
of,
just watch that first game.
yeah, we did just watch that first game and see like the utter destruction. And this Conduit Sun team that they have drafted is like the prototypical, like, if I'm ahead, I'm going to start winning hard, right? Like, Belveth is a champion that is designed to win at like 22 minutes. That's like her spike, and that's when her win rate starts going down.
Right.
You know, Camille is one of those champions that, again, one item spike, like once you have Trinity, you are so ridiculously strong. And, you know, fighter items are good, but it's kind of doesn't scale that well. Aphelios is, again, one of those ADCs, doesn't have any of the range or any of those indicators that like really helps him accelerate. Is a hyper carry in that way, but doesn't have like anything to help him. Fiddlestick support, very much something that's based around the getting 5 points into fear and being able to just click Q on somebody. So very much a mid-game focused composition for the side of Conduit Sun.
Well, Storm, what are you feeling overall? Are you sticking by the Monkeys prediction, or are you ready to jump ship?
It's really a tough dilemma for me. I want to
Mhm.
say that Monkeys are going to win this game. They have drafted comfort for themselves. Everything in that way is looking good, but I don't see a lot of ways where this team's able to win fights cleanly. I don't think Asante is almost ever going to be able to kidnap anyone important or get double W's off onto like a priority target. I just think the Xerath is like going to be absolutely impossible for Monkey's Paw to deal with, and he's going to rain hellfire on them. So I'm actually going to predict Conduit Sun to close the series out right now.
All right. Protomorph had a relatively quiet game number 1 on the Aurelion Sol. Ultimately, the team just didn't really need him to do very much. But on the Xerath this time around, may be able to have a really substantial impact. Very aggressive line for Conduit Sun in this game 2 draft. We'll see if they can close it out in just a moment. And that moment is actually here, Storm. We've arrived at the moment, so we're going to get directly into this game number 2. So again, we do have Monkey's Paw on the blue side this time around, and Conduit Sun looking to close things out from red.
Perfect. And we are just loading in, kind of seeing no real weird runes or choices on the side of this fight. Is interesting to see that it is barrier for the side of both ADCs, neither opting to run cleanse. Something that is useful into, you know, the Fiddlesticks having that point and click CC that is super long. Zillion Slow being obnoxious at 99% when it eventually gets maxed out as well. Oh, good.
Nice.
And it's going to be a surprise birthday party for someone. Wonder who will be the lucky birthday guest.
Yeah, pretty fun Fiddlestick skin. Personally, I feel like I prefer the spookier skins, but the surprise party Fiddlesticks definitely has a lot of character.
Yeah, I really like it, and I think it's fun that it's the only ultimate or like legendary skin in the game that's 1350 RP.
Wow. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That'll be fun to track how Boldfont does this game. Was, of course, on the Alistar previously. And so still on an engaged champion, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Thing I'm interested to see, how fast does Bel'Veth clear? I've not kept up with that champion in some time. From what I used to remember, Bel'Veth was like a level 1 Queen of Invade. You just go to the enemy raptors and fight for them. Not seeing that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit more annoying to go for that on red side, just because the blue side team's bottom lane can very easily contest you if you look for that Raptor invade. So, just going to go for the full clear top to bot is Clasper. It should be faster than the Xin Zhao, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. Bel'Veth's main benefit and the reason you kind of pick her is that she has really fast clear. You see Nitro Dax getting some bad trades in that Capville able to utilize that precision protocol passive and get those big shields coming up before they engage on the Cassante.
Yeah. And this is really the main place that I think we need to focus, at least for this early game. We need to see how Nitro is able to pilot this lane. We're getting dismantled by the Ivern previously. Nice dash away there. Catfill even eating a turret shot. Is going to get the wave shoved in.
Yeah. Nitro Dax is probably going to come out of this first push with a minion advantage, assuming they're able to get some sort of this CS under the tower. See, they do pick up some of it here. 10. Okay, so they only got 2 of those.
Now it is going to be pushing out.
Yeah.
Capfill decided not to go for the reset. I guess didn't quite have enough money. It's going to get shoved there. There's an even trade. Didn't quite have enough money for that first component yet, did the Camille. And we do have both junglers pathing away from this top side, so both the Cassante and the Camille can be relatively comfortable to stick around despite the lower health bars.
Clasper is looking here.
It is Azir that we should be able to dash away, and the
Yeah.
knockup does land, but the Azir already created the distance. A nice sidestep there on the Arcano Pulse. Looks like we will trade off Scuttle Crabs.
Yep. Is something worth mentioning. One of the reasons you do that to Azir is that double shuffle costs a ridiculous amount of mana, so it forces Azir to reset and kind of come back to base in some ways. You know, maybe burn that TP. Is just content to walk back, as we do see Protomorph have some sort of freeze, electing not to burn their TP. Never mind, just a big wave shoving into them that they'll be able to collect.
Yeah, that's right. And it looks like that wave will go all the way in, so Protomorph now could also look to get off a reset if he would like to.
Yeah. Probably gonna come back.
Oh, just highlighting the fact that Nahor just flashed. Didn't quite see why that happened.
Oh, that is very strange.
Yeah.
Would
I've
also
had
like to
faith.
point out that Nahor has reset or something and bought a tier.
Oh, that is a bit unusual for supports. As Cassante is unstoppable.
Yep. Just
Oh,
Cassante,
that's
thanks.
we really should have got that minion, but here comes Metal. And oh, the base just completed for Clasper. This is gonna be a 1v2 for Catfill. Do we have hookshot? It looks like the answer is no. We're flashing and then immediately dying to the red buff. That is a much better start here in the top lane for Monkey's Paw.
Yeah, and Camille's already burned her TP, bought that call on a reset, had a biscuit in inventory. Don't know if that came in just as they were dying. They were flashing to try to use that. Wasn't able to get it off. Unfortunately, Cassante unable to push this wave in.
Also has tier.
Yeah,
We are scaling to the side of Monkey's Paw.
that's very strange. Because Cassante buys, like, armor and mana items, doesn't he? Isn't
Yeah, the Fifth
Frozen
Winter
Heart
does
really
not
good?
give any resists, I don't think.
Yeah, and all Cassante wants is armor. Like, the build on him is to go double chain vest.
Well, not going to be the
Okay.
call for Nitro. Maybe he's just thinking he wants to stay in lane longer. I don't really know. We'll have to see if that tier does pay off.
Yeah.
As Belveth on the bottom side of the map does really love her Baron Pit objectives, the Belveth, but the Grubby is not alive just yet. This is the change on this patch we were talking about earlier, right? Where
Yeah.
the objective's a little bit more staggered now, so you can get both if you are winning in the early game, which Runaway Sun, they're really not yet.
There's a W. Alt W?
Okay,
This should
there's
be a
the
big
all-out.
burst.
Hextech Ultimatum going to come out in
Oh, we hit the
response.
W.
Catfill trying to get back underneath the turret. Oh, Nitro
Nice.
commits for it, finds the solo kill. And now we got a game on our hands now. Here comes Clasper, though. Hoping to find a punish, but only level 5, 2 levels down to the Cassante right now. Gets into the lane, but not going to be able to find the knock-up, so Clasper just clears out the minion wave. And Nitro Dax in a much better spot here, bouncing back after that game number 1.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Mental reset, the solo kill going, okay, I got this, guys. He's an ape. Top laner moment. It was just a cheese pick, don't worry about it. This is going to give this, first dragon was already going over. Hello, Clasper. Being top lane, free start to that. Wonder if this Grubs will be contested whatsoever, if we're going to see Nahor roam up here as just taking his reset now. Looks like we do see this roam coming from the support.
Yeah, both supports, it looks like, moving over actually for the side of Monkey's Paw. They've moved their entire bot lane in, and now you can see Domination kind of maybe realizing that this could be a possibility, is now also moving into the mid lane. So we're going to have some rotations coming in as the teams try to set up for these grubs.
Metal.
This is a big moment.
Okay. I think this blue buff gets Metal very close to 6, if not taking them over. There it does.
All right, so Nahor, of course, has 6 as well on that Zillion. That could be really impactful in this fight as well. And Bullfont doesn't quite have it yet on the Fiddlesticks, actually, so that's a big advantage for Monkeys.
Oh, and Nitro dash.
Phil, need a turret shot there. But it's going to be able to get away, and now the Grub's been started off. Belbeth is going to be very sad if she can't get any of these. First one going to go over. Boldfont still not level 6 on this Fiddlesticks.
There we go.
Can't
just
really
over.
participate. Capphil getting jumped on is going to get burst down. One Grub will be smote away by Clasper. In comes the Crow Storm. Gets off a fear only onto one though, and Boldfont just going to get piled onto. Taken down right at the Arcane now coming out from the Xerath, but not really able to land many of those bursts. And Monkey's Paw are off to a really nice early lead, almost 2,000, and most of those early neutrals as well.
Yeah, Caster Curse coming in strong as always.
Yeah. We needed to pull out all the stops to get 3 games tonight.
Yeah, we need to pull it out. As the hater, we got to put every single ounce we have into this. The Curse, one of the tools at our disposal. But yeah, this is a really bad start for Capitol here. This Cull buy of theirs was incredibly greedy, especially into a team comp that spikes so hard mid-game like this.
Yeah.
To the side of Monkey's Paw.
That's a big thing we were talking about in the draft, right? The fact that it feels like Monkey's Paw outscaled pretty hard with this composition, and Conduit Sun need to be ahead in order to make theirs work, and that's definitely not the case. Like, we're already almost getting to the point where, like, the Belveth is not really going to be relevant.
This is probably a kill for the side of Capville. Okay.
Nope. Sante just dashes away. And he walks back up afterwards, but it looks like we'll be fine.
I would just take our reset here and use TP, but that's me.
All right, here comes the Belveth. Are we going to be able to get a kill for Clasper? The Chrono Shift is going to get the refreshed health bar for Maze, but the Zeri trashing over to the wall. The skate to get away the barrier as well, and he's out of there. Really nicely played by Maze. You really see that Zeri mastery coming through there.
Yeah, it was kind of in my head going, why the hell did we burn Zillion ult there? That was pointless.
Oh, now the flash away for Capville as Drizzen arriving into the top lane. Has the angle, but doesn't find the scoop. And the hook shot just gets Capville out to safety. We do see Protomorph roaming up towards that top side as well. Is the Xerath going to be able to help turn around this play? And it looks like, Drizzen actually canceling the reset there. Capville is still so low from the earlier fight. Oh, one more hit would finish off the Camille, but now channeling the ultimate is the Xerath is going to be able to blow away the Cassandra. The last hit is actually not quite enough. Drizzen now going to get taken down as well. He could have just taken the reset, but they wanted to go for the fight, and it does not work out. So the first couple of kills of the game for Conduit.
Yeah, that's some really big gold injections over into the people that need it most. Belveth able to get one, able to get some of that Void Coral or whatever the heck the name of those lavender stacks.
Yeah.
Fastest mid lane fight going on right now.
Ooh. Let's take a look as they're actually just moving in to push in the wave.
Metal almost
Metal was
there.
Yeah, but had the Crescent Guard and the Flash to get away. That looks like barely able to survive. Crowstorm in the bot lane. Looks like the Zillion was the target there.
Maze did die.
Oh, Maze died. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Come on, Braku.
Yep, Zillion ult is available. Blame it on your Zillion. How it works.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that is pretty... I mean, I guess probably they were both feared, right? You can't cast the ultimate while feared. So I imagine that was probably what happened.
For sure what's happened, but... always blame your Zillion. It's never your own fault.
Right. Oh, sorry for I didn't mean to not blame Zillion.
Yeah.
As we do have this second dragon alive right now. And 2 grubs, actually, on the new patch is feats credits. So if the Monkey's Paw can get this dragon, they would secure feats of strength. But as we can see, it's Conduit Sun with position in the river right now. A little bit of vision going down for the monkeys. And now they caught out Protomorph. The Xerath already used the flash. The team is there to escort him out to safety. The health bar is hurting a little bit now for Conduit. They're going to be forced to give up their position around the objective.
Yeah, and I love to see this. Desiree pushing in this mid wave. We're making sure to sweep out all these bushes so that Fiddlesticks isn't able to get this ult onto us. This is really smart play for the side of Monkey's Paw right now. Just have to make sure that Maze
confident
is
enough to start the objective, though. Catfill finding a nice Cho'Gath ultimate there onto the Cassante, who does go all out to try to turn the play around, and he does! Oh, he just Cassante'd all over him! What was that? No, meanwhile, we are going to land another Xerath ultimate. There's a Protomorph actually finding the solo kill there in mid lane.
Yep.
That was also a solo kill in top, I guess.
Yep. I guess this means Clasper gets to start this tech stack dragon?
Well, Metal is here, and it's going to say, no, please don't. And Clasper's going to say, all right, fair enough. I'll back away.
Yeah, I mean, we're just picking waves up right now. Trying to get ahead on Souls. That is...
But again, Conduit Sun do need to be trying to push the pace, right?
Yeah.
They're just not feeling confident to really commit to the setup around this objective. I mean, channeling the recall now for our full HP bar Aphelios. And it's not even for an item. He already has his item. So I'm not sure why we're not trying to play more aggressively around this. And it looks like now the Dragon's just going to be given over.
Yeah.
Feats of strength.
Gonna try and get our Camille back in the game by taking this tower top lane here. Capthul is really behind right now and does need this time to scale into the game.
Yeah, it's 0-4 now for Capthul. And Nitrodax has really successfully been able to return the favor for that laning phase in the previous game.
But Belveth is able to start this Herald. I think they will have time to finish this as well.
Now, this is actually just like her favorite objective, even more so than the Grubbies. She does love her Rift Heralds, but look at that. Why are we backing away, though? I mean, I guess Zeri was moving over, but you have Aphelios in the mid lane there as well, and the wave was even. It feels like Conduit Sun are playing so scared right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to believe in the Aphelios scaling, right? That's the Aphelios and Protomorph on this Xerath. Because, like I mentioned, don't think there is a good way for this team to get on top of Xerath. Unless we're able to somehow get in a Xer shuffle, I don't see a lot of us other dive getting onto this Xerath.
Well, Nitrodax is on top of the Xerath. He's going to go all out. The Shocking Orb does come out, but the Cassante damage is ridiculous. Just absolutely dumpstered him. That's what happens, I guess, when you get on top of Xerath.
Yep. Gets popped like a balloon. That's going to be a tower going down here. Capthul
looking for something. The flash for Derizen is not going to get him away from the Ice Ultimatum. The Crowstorm now getting in there. They finish off the Azir, but now Nitrodax teleporting into the play. The channel of the Fiddlesticks does not actually get interrupted. Now Nitrodax with the Chrono Shift needs to die to proc the Cassante. And Belveth, now gives the Cassante the fresh health bar. Does take down the Zeri though, and immediately kills the Cassante a second time as well, as Clasper just absolutely took over in that team fight.
Okay, so, Nahor, you know this, I know this. We never ever ult our tank. Ever again. Please.
Yeah. Imagine if the Zeri had the ultimate there. Yeah, that could have looked really different. Although the Belveth was still going to get a reset one way or another, so I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'd really love to see that fight again. I know we don't have that possibility really, but Capville greeting for the turret doesn't get it. Oh, man. Oh, still gets the gold, I guess.
Yeah, gets the local gold. Types
Here
worth an all
comes
shot.
Clasper. Looking
Has
for
the
Drizzt, who I
Transform.
think it doesn't have shifting stance, but the knockup not going to land for the Belveth, but it doesn't matter. God, I hate that champion.
Yeah.
Almost as
Suddenly
much as Conduit.
this Belveth is now 6-0.
Yeah. Yeah, Clasper are going to be real strong. You mentioned that Clasper did have a pretty good Belveth game last week, despite the loss. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. It's looking like a pretty good Belveth game once again here. Ulfon going to get
This
jumped
should
on.
be a
Nice
dead
fear to
fiddlesticks.
get the Xinjiao away temporarily, but the CC is there from the zillion double bombs. And that is going to keep the Scarecrow from going anywhere. Still number 3 for the Xinjiao, who's also somewhat strong. Is Clasper able to secure his own blue buff?
Yep. Glad to see this is still this normal Belveth build of build items that spike super duper hard. Gonna be looking for Nitrodax here right now.
Yeah. Reminder, Nitrodax is playing Cassante. So he's going to be able to dash a couple of times, goes all out onto the Camille, who does trap him in the Hextech Ultimatum. The Cassante is taking damage, but he was Cassante in the end. Able to get away from that one. Knock up onto Catfill. The Camille able to hook shot out. And actually, Clasper going back in, trying to find these kills. Again, the Chrono Shift is on top of the Cassante, but this time around, it will not matter. Last shocking orb from the Xerath. Protomorph gets one back, and Catfill can't find the wall with the hook shot, which means no more chase down is going to happen.
Oh, it's just a comedy of errors almost in that fight, but Boldfont cancels
gets
the
fear.
recall.
He's still Cassante, though. Here comes the Crow Storm. Does get a fear onto the Zeri underneath the turret. Oh, that was the Zillion, excuse me, who does get taken down, which means Zeri is still alive, and they're going to be able to take down Boldfont in response.
And this is a really late TP. He is coming through. I don't think he's able to catch them, though. Desrin here. Nope.
Guess not. All right, we've got another dragon spawning right now. This would be so good for the monkeys, and Conduit need a reset. Although I guess there aren't very many monkeys in the area right now either.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just all this stuff up. Like, the full red side's up for both junglers. There's all this waves crashing into towers here. Like, this is just these teams fighting and aping out almost. There isn't a reason for that pot lane fight. Like, there's so much to be setting up here.
Yeah, that was pretty confusing. I'd have to agree. In the end, in the aftermath of that fight, it was relatively even, I think.
A little head here. Gonna get hit, I think.
We're fearing the Cassante.
Yeah.
And that fear is going to be on cooldown now for a little while for Boldfont. Teleport in. That is going to be Catfill arriving to the play. Nitrodax separated from everybody else right now. The lone monkey in the pit. Or in the barrel,
jump over the
if you will.
Here.
Another fear onto the Xinjiao this time from Boldfont. Metal chunk down to about 50%. Cassante is taking a little bit of damage as well. Here comes the right of the Arcane from Protomorph. Able to land the first couple of shots, and now connecting on the Nitrodax as well, who does go all out of the pit. They're looking to finish off the Cassante. They will be able to take him down on the other side of the fight. Now Clasper on the Belveth, looking to wrap around. That Moonlight Vigil is not going to land. Flashing forward is the Zeri, takes down the Fiddlesticks. Now Protomorph has a Blast Cone, is going to get the Xerath out, and Clasper, there are some low health bars, but the Belveth's still biding her time. Not going back in. There she goes over the wall. Finds the knockup onto the Azir. Gets the first reset onto the Xinjiao, and May's going to get taken down as well. Seemed like the monkeys maybe forgot about the Belveth waiting over the wall there. They stepped back up, and that was the moment that Clasper was able to strike. Drizzt now trapped in the red side jungle. Tries to flash. He shuffles, but he still has nowhere to go. Catfill is also going to flash just to make sure. Can get that kill nice and cleanly. And that was a big swing for Conduit. 4 for none in the team fight, plus the dragon.
Yeah, just this thing of they're not together, right? That we see Catfill and LO Clasper that fight were just able to pick off this Cassante, and as your Cassante is getting engaged on the call is to go in on the other side. But you, without a Cassante, like, how are you getting in onto these people? And the answer is you're really not.
Yeah, I mean, they were technically on top of the Xerath again for a brief moment, but he did have a disengage cone available to make that no longer the case.
yeah, as well as the Fiddlesticks being able to get that huge fear off that stopped the shuffle for Vezerin. Will mention Atacon, really good thing to fight against tanks because it shreds your resist by like 50% if you get hit by enough of the stacks. It's absolutely
Oh,
crazy.
we are crashing into a wall and now potentially dying. Never mind, we're flashing away and surviving for now. Now we're going back in. The knock up from Metal has the Chrono Shift. Clasper, at risk of getting taken down, they will get the shutdown onto Maze's Zeri, the best possible candidate, although Maze will then also be taken down. And that is going to be Metal falling as well, not quite able to finish off Bold Font. So still a 2-for-1 for Conduit, but that was a big shutdown for the Zeri, and now we're flashing on top of the Fiddlesticks, who says no thank you.
Yeah, I gotta be saying, if I am Maze on Zeri, I'm gonna be really angry at Nahor. Not just for that, but there's definitely some plays that we are making as this very annoying Zillion that getting a little too close to people for my liking.
I think we've maybe only seen one Chrono Shift actually cast on the Zeri so far this game in the laning phase.
Yep. Just that one where we saw that led to the flash over the wall to escape from that one gank. Yep. Would mention Azir also has not been given a ultimate yet, I do not think. Has just been clicked onto our Xin Zhao and our Cassante. Who, to be fair, were the carries at the point of those ults.
That's true. That is true. You know, Xin Zhao can use it well. You know, it enables him to dive in really aggressively with reckless abandon, right? And, you know, can get some stuff done. But, yeah, it does feel like the monkeys are just a little bit disorganized maybe in these fights. And with composition like this, yeah, they need to be a little bit tighter, right? That's where the composition should really thrive in the 5v5s.
Is trying to bring this back.
Capville, though, finding some good damage there with the Q2. All out now, committed. A lot of damage, though, from the Cassante. It's almost enough, but the hook shot again comes off cooldown. And the CC there from the knockback. Ooh, really nice flash from Domination. Gets away from the Azir shuffle. Moonlight Vigil is going to land this time. That's some good damage coming out as well. That's really clean. Good attempt from Derizen, but an amazing reaction from the Aphelios.
Yeah, really clean reactions on that. Maze sticking around here with fairly low health. Just going to collect this wave. Should be safe, but this is going to be Atacon is the choice. Okay.
Yeah, looking for the Atacon. Capville does have teleport, but only has half of a health bar. But Derizen answering, and it seems like the monkeys just don't really suspect a thing.
Yeah. Going to be Atacon going down. Wonder how impactful this new buff is. No.
Baron just spawned about 40 seconds ago, and yeah, it would be a bit too much. They're going to go for the resets. Use up the tempo. We got another Dragon in 45. Looking for Protomorph. Does flash. The Azir doesn't even have the ultimate available just yet, but maybe Protomorph wasn't necessarily aware of that. The Soldier's almost able to finish the job. The Xerath barely going to be able to get away from that one. Even Leandre's burn almost finishing him off there as well. The tower will barely stand for now as Domination and Boldfont are here to defend. Clear out that minion wave.
Yeah, but the bigger thing I want to keep in mind is Dragon spawns in 20 seconds, and there's no one on the map on the side of Paul ready for this, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's a big setup right now. There's a Fiddlesticks and a Belveth sitting in a bush who has her ult form.
Oh boy. Yeah, honestly, it feels like both teams have been playing really hesitantly around these dragons.
Yeah.
Now, you know, after the last couple of sequences, feels like Conduit Sun are in a really good spot, and they will go ahead and start it up now. It's going to be no contest.
Yeah, instead, going to look for this cross-map play onto the Camille, who is safe, making sure that they're not pushing where they can't be.
Yeah. Really like that from Capville as well, right? Recognizing that that's the only play. As now we're greeting for a Scuttle Crab. Never mind. So is that my fault? No, we're fine. We hookshot away. We're Camille. We are also Crow Storming.
Yep.
Back over to you, Storm.
Sure. Yeah, great ultimate. Love Fiddlesticks.
Yeah.
do claim that do claim that Scuttle Crab now. Are able to get some of that vision back out. So Baron is kind of the next dance target. Probably going to see this Camille head down towards bot lane where the Xerath is once these Windian waves here have been collected. If I had to guess, where I would want to be is a split push Camille anyway.
That would make sense to me. Isn't going to clear this out. Yeah, the Xerath does have to be really careful extending this far down the side lane, right? Just, oh, that's a nice Arcano Pulse, though. Trying to finish him off with the rights of the Arcane. I think has only one more charge left, though. There it is! Oh, Protomorph! 6 and 1 now on the Xerath, level 16, after getting that solo kill as well.
Yeah, and that's a really big solo kill. I mean, this Azir is just falling further and further behind, and is really the one like key engage piece that this Monkey Spa team has, and they really need it.
I think Derizen even had flash there as well, right? Could have flashed that last blast from the Xerath, but just didn't.
Oh, Nitro Dax has to win this fight and doesn't
Not
anymore.
landing the Q3, is going to go into the all-out now, but is already taking so much damage. Is he going to be able to Cassante like he was earlier? Flashes the hook shot, but it's not going to matter. He's going to have another Q2 in a second. Finishes off the Cassante. Metal's not in time to help out the top laner. Another hook shot lands. The shield is massive. In comes Derizen out of the death chamber. They're trying to chase down. Oh, the flash W doesn't land for Metal. And Catfill goes back in the 1v2. Takes out the jungler. Will trade himself for it. But now this should be a free Baron. Maze is just desperately trying to do something, anything. Trying to kill somebody. But he is the one that is going to get taken down. It's Nash on top for Conduit. They now are closing in on like a 9,000 gold lead. Even Nahor going to get caught here by Clasper. 10 kills for the Belveth. And oh dear, looks like your caster cursing wasn't strong enough, Storm.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to pull it off. All the things that I was saying were looking good for them. Is looking good. Protomorph on this Xerath is just absolutely crushing them. Able to rain down so much damage. I think that one's going to die here again.
That's damage. Wow. That's a death cap. Yep. He's he's
and all the Void Children are here.
Magical truck. There they are. Yeah.
Really wish they looked different than the sperm that they do. But
yeah, if the Void Mites are Twitch chatters, then what are the Void Remora? They're like YouTube comments or something?
Yeah, gotta be. Just absolutely worthless and annoying.
Well, they definitely have some value for Conduit's Son. They appreciate the commenters as they're going to help take down these Nexus turrets as the Xin Zhao going to get flashed on by the Aphelios. Another kill for Domination. It's just domination is the right word for Conduit's Son. Able to take down the monkeys on the steps of their fountain and able to take a convincing 2-0 in tonight's match. Conduit's Son able to lock themselves into playoffs and lock the monkeys out.
Yeah. Believe with that win there, it does lock them into the top 4 of playoffs.
I believe so.
Just absolute gross game for them. Even though Capfill wasn't able to, have that early dominance, was able to scale as the Camille, get to those late game fights, and just start putting those Cho'Gath ultimates out over again and again into Nitro Dax.
Yeah, I mean, Capfill started this game 0-4 on the Camille. And
0-4-0. End of the game with a respectable KDA. Protomorph, again in the mid lane as the Xerath, did an amazing job. LO Clasper had a great game as well. Doesn't have the most damage or anything like that, but that doesn't matter. As Belveth, the damage you're doing is to towers and to objectives. It's not to champions.
Yeah. Did have that one really great team fight, right, where he was able to find all those resets in that blue side jungle that led into,
came out of that fight as that 6-0.
Yeah. A really great game for Conduit's Son, honestly. They started a little bit slow in the second one. We were a little bit worried, right? But in the end, I mean, once Conduit were able to get their lead, they really did run away with it quite nicely.
Hmm.
Who's your game 2 Pog, Storm?
I'm gonna go with Protomorph. Zareth was gross, and they did 32k damage, 30 minutes. That's over 1,000 damage a minute.
Yeah, yeah, really nice performance on the Zerath. The positioning I thought was really good for the most part, and yeah, we just landed all those skill shots. It was just able to. I think even solo killed the Azir multiple times that game. I'm pretty
Yeah, 3 or
sure.
4 times.
Yeah, really, really nice with the draft resources as well, right? The team gave him that R5 counter pick, and he really put in some work with it. So a great night out for the Conduit Sun solo laners, and overall, just a really strong showing, really able to have a convincing performance and kind of prove to everybody that they belong in the top 4 here in Demacia, a division that everybody thought was going to be really, really competitive going into this season. Good looks from them. Any other final notes, Storm? Any other closing remarks that you have for today's stream?
No. Sorry that Conduit Sun Hating did not go as well as I had hoped. They proved me wrong with this one. I'll give them some more credit going forward.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that as well. Yeah, last opponent of the regular season for Conduit Sun is going to be Elysium Encore. So that's another team that has kind of been struggling a little bit. And if Conduit Sun can pick up that last win as well, then they might even be able to secure top 2 finish here at the end of the round robin, which would be really, really cool. Do we have any other results that came in that we could mention right now?
Yeah, I think lots of results have come in. There's been quite a few 2-0s. Draconic Spire took the 2-0 over Elysium Encore.
Okay.
Won both games in under 30 minutes, it looks like. Mid Crashouts 2-0'd Monkey Cheers. AK Hearts able to win 2-0 over the Golden Geese. Not going to fly today, sadly.
Yeah.
No Quarter Gaming 2-0 over the Chosen Inters.
Okay. So a lot of the teams that were higher in the standings secured
Yeah.
some convincing wins tonight, and now just in looks like TSI Team Solo Invade 2-0 over their opponent this week, which was Jolly Rogers.
Oh, Jolly Rogers. Okay.
Yeah, and now the Shattered Spire, the defending champs, 2-0 over Goon Squad. So, yeah, as far as this Demacia division goes, it does look like, I mean, after this week, it looks like our top 4 are probably locked, right? I mean, Monkey's Cheers lost, Elysium lost, Draconic Spire won, Conduit won. So, yeah, it's
that's
looking like
probably
Mint, Sin, Conduit, and Draconic Spire are going to be your playoff teams from Demacia, almost certainly.
Have to do the numbers checking just to double check, but should be almost certainly locked in for them.
Yeah. But I guess that's going to do it for our coverage this week, guys. Don't forget, tomorrow night you're going to have Week 6 over in the Plat League. Make sure you join our boy Chong Solmo for that one. From us here in Emerald, for myself, Storm, Braku, everybody here, thank you very, very much for watching. And we'll see you next week for the last week of the regular season. Have a great night.